thing.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, whoo! Welcome to the Chairmen of the Board podcast. Woo! Episode 43, I think. 44. Could be 45, I don't know. Go to Maveric Media shop.co.uk. But don't go just yet because we have a podcast to do. You want to watch that? Right, fuck the advert. Let's just jump straight in.
2, 3, 4.
My name is Sam, and that's all. I got a pretty good show with my good friend Paul. So listen up to the chairman of the board.
Did that last week as well.
I talk to him, and he talks to me. We talk a lot of shit, but you get it for free. So don't complain, these gadgets cost a lot. So now we're at the end of the song, and everybody knows what's going on. So here we have the chairman of the, yes we have the chairman of the board.
Who done sketches?
Because we're bored.
That was Hannah Ford on them sketches, Chris.
Right, hold on.
Did you like the theme tune, Chris?
Yeah,
I wrote that.
it was good.
Thanks.
Should have been on.
Should have been on what?
Should have been on something
Should
anyway.
have been on Chairman of the Board, the soundtrack.
Hopefully Mendes can hear this. Right. Anyway, so
Name dropping already.
Fuck it, this guy just brings beef every time. He had beef with George Galley. Now he's got beef with some guy called Mendes.
Right, so let me start off. Last week we had Chris on. It was a big anticipated fucking event, and
bum, 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 bum. Sorry.
I that's about 6 times I've told you not to bang on that.
Sorry.
I was gonna I need to explain something here, right? I was gonna, as a joke, say because you left last week, you left during the podcast, you've disrespected the podcast. I think you owe our viewers an apology. I was only joking. I wasn't even gonna say it because it's a shit joke, whatever.
Right.
But then you go and show up half an hour late to this one.
Oh yeah, he did show up half.
So now you are going to have to apologise.
Yeah. I apologise, Sam.
To the viewers, not to
And me.
Yeah,
Why don't I get an apology?
I apologise to the viewers. Yeah, sorry you
Okay.
had to wait 20 minutes. It gives you plenty of time to get a packet of Doritos or something. So
So everything works out.
Well, he's got a point.
And then you went to the toilet. Did you flush the toilet before you finished peeing?
I was actually teaching guitar. I was actually teaching guitar, so that's why I was a wee bit late, and I had a few things. I had to get my dinner and that as well. So
But we'd planned it for 11.
I know.
You had some dinner at
I was
fucking
coming at
half
11.
10
I didn't realise it was recording at 11.
Right. See, when you phoned it and like, I thought you were going to be like, I'm stuck in traffic, something. You're just like, oh, I'm just doing a bit of Spanish stuff. Fucking. All right.
Spanish guitar.
But anyway,
so
Fucking
Anyway.
maniac.
it's been a long time, baby.
It's been
It's
like
been
a
a long
week.
time, Paul.
It's been a long week.
It has been
Put
a
it
long
that
week.
way.
Oh God, the cops were after me last Tuesday. So
The
what
cops
hell?
were after you.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm just going to ask one sec, because
Nah.
you're not too loud on my headphones, but I'm going to ask the viewers
Yeah.
if they can message Paul. Actually, would probably be the best way. If anyone's mic needs turned up or anything
How many
like that.
people can hear this, view this right now? Can you see
However, he's watching.
how many's watching?
I'm guessing about 30.
80.
It's all right.
Could be 80.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It comes up weird in the views though, because if like a bunch of people happen to be grouped together like in a small room or something watching it.
So anyway,
That
Sam,
only
as you
counts for
said
one
last
view.
week,
Just
you
count as
gave
one
me a
view.
wee introduction last week, so you're going to go it again, Sam?
I'm
No, we
gonna
don't
do it
need to.
again
That's the beauty of
because-
it. We can just fucking jump into it. We've done it. Everybody knows who he is.
Well, I mean, it
Well,
was.
do you want me to
reintroduce him?
It's technically a separate podcast, so
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to
Okay.
reintroduce yourself.
Yeah.
Tell the viewers
You get take 2.
who the fuck you are.
Who the fuck? Jesus
two.
God.
Oh,
You and
just
fucking drinks.
Oh,
man.
actually-
He's got his own drink this week. And he
Another
just nearly
thing.
fucking punched it over.
vodka and orange.
Another thing.
It's just orange.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to confiscate the phones.
Yeah.
Mine's is on the floor over there.
Mine's just on silent, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's on silent. It was probably on silent last week as well.
I didn't worry about it. No, don't worry. It's all good. It's all good.
Right.
Phew.
Also,
Anyway.
this is taking up a lot of room. Can we have that kind of?
Yeah, like
there?
he's-
God's
he's
okay,
brought a
okay,
fucking
Mr.
laptop
Sam,
with him this week.
okay. It's for all my.
It's Mr. Vallely. To you.
I want to know why he's got the laptop.
Okay, teacher. Okay, sir.
As well, Chris.
No, the thing is,
Charge my phone.
all right, okay, because I was going to say last time with a guy on with a laptop, it was just fucking chaos.
Aye, he was like hacking into.
Pentagon.
Aye.
Is that retard? That guy that's got Down syndrome or something like
Not
Yes.
not on our podcast.
Not
Right.
I know. You must have been on our podcast you
Yeah,
watched,
we-
Chris. The number 2 Scottish podcast.
Maybe some people right now will get offended, maybe just saying the word retard.
Possibly.
I don't really.
People get offended at all
Stone
things.
Cold Steve Austin says, just bring it on, don't give a shit.
He was the Rock last
Just
time.
bring it on.
Don't give a shit.
Right, anyway, so
I think
That's the
I think-
bottom line because Fleming said so.
I think The Rock said,
hey,
just
don't
bring
use
it.
the word flavour again. I hate that nickname.
Do you?
Right. Aye, I do. Really hate
Well,
it.
get
What
my hate
nickname do you
banging
like?
on the fucking
Aye,
table.
I know.
That's 7 times now.
Sorry. Sorry.
He did it when he came in. I told him no. Woo!
So
He's coming to Edinburgh, Ric Flair.
For what?
It's
Just
called An Audience with Ric Flair.
just to
Is
hang
he?
about.
Aye.
You going along it?
I was fancy. I didn't know how much the tickets are. I fancy going along.
Did Bret
actually.
Hart not do some of them as well this year or last
I
year?
don't know, actually. I don't know. Maybe Sam's your Bret Hart man. He'll tell you. No, it's Shawn Michaels.
He's a wrestling guy. He's all in wrestling Sam.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
The wrestling
Gonna-
report.
yeah. Anyway, so
Wrestles on bears.
introduce yourself.
So yeah, so
Jesus,
I'm.
fuck this glass, Chris. I swear to God, I nearly
My
knocked
name's
over.
Dwayne Johnson. But no, basically my name's Chris Fleming. I'm 27. What can I say? I teach guitar and drums through Scotland. I've had a rough patch in my life. Kind of losing all my family apart from my mum. Lost my father 6-7 years ago. And music's a big part of my life. So that's the thing that's made me a strong person. And finally regained my confidence back in my life with meeting the girl of my dreams, this Canadian girl, Dean, who I stay with now and again with.
Nadine.
And usually stay at my mum's a couple of nights a week and that, so everything's going well. So she's a good woman, and she's basically made me happy again in life. So made me back to the old Chris Fleming, the old Chris Fleming, that is.
So you're old school now.
Yeah, so I'm back to old school, and I'm feeling good in myself. I'm feeling back. I'm feeling black, and I'm feeling back. I'm feeling there, baby. But
I'm feeling back. I'm feeling black.
but no, I mean the teaching's going well. And,
What does that mean, Chris? What does it mean to feel black?
Don't know. It's just a saying. I watched
Just
it
a
in
mindset.
Seen it in like a Men in Black movie or something.
Black. What's black in it?
but no, basically, music's my life, and obviously I need to plug my band Unjustice as well, like kind of Metallica-style thrash metal band. Got our Fall of Justice album out in the summer, so that should be quite nice.
Pretty
So
cool.
if there's any Muslims listening, there's a lot of offensive things to Muslims in the Fall of Justice.
What is there that's offensive to Muslims, Chris?
Well, there's a whole.
Wait, is it
kinda
Muslims or Muslims? Because you corrected me.
Muslims.
Muslims.
We'll call it Sam's way because he can't pronounce Muslims, so we'll call them Muslims. I just say Muslims because that's just the way I speak.
Wait,
Okay.
what do you
But,
say? Do you say Muslims or Muslims?
Muslims.
Right, okay.
No, Sam's the only person I know that says Muslims. Like you've got a muzzle on your face.
Muzzle.
Muzzle.
I think I say Muslim. I don't know what I say.
I don't even
I'm
know.
like I say, I'm nothing against anybody in the world, but obviously religions.
Well, obviously you do.
Well, Jews, but anyway, that's another story. But
How
no,
many
I mean,
fucking minutes has this been going? You've attacked. Who have you attacked, Chris? You've had to go retarded people. You've had to go
Mendez. Nah, I'm
Mendez,
nothing
who the
against
fuck
Mendez. I'm
Mendez
not
is.
seeing him. I'm not seeing him well. He's a good guy, but just thought I'd say it for a laugh because I noticed they liked someone on my Facebook page for lessons, and I just thought I'd just plug his name in there for you. Well, make it a wee bit.
Mendez got a plug.
He got a plug. But no, the band Unjustice, like the Fall of Justice, we wrote a song about the atrocities that happened in France, about obviously kind of the people that were killed and stuff.
I
like
should
that,
take your
taken
hands away
hostage.
for you just a wee second.
And okay, teacher. Bye,
No,
teacher.
no, it's
Thank
just
you.
because the audio I came
Thank
with
you,
it's like.
teacher.
You can hear it. You still do. It's just
Aye,
went
aye,
right
just-
back and did it.
Yeah, it's just a habit, but.
Just I know what it's like when it comes through there.
But
It'll-
no, the album's going to be quite good. It just talks about kind of a number of things for Mirror of Sanity, which losing my father and me going insane for a while, and basically we've got another song called Fall of Justice, which talks about
Mary
how
Sanity?
the world
Mirror of
Mirror of Sanity. So it's
Mirror of
looking at
Sanity.
myself in the mirror.
Mirror of
basically.
Sanity.
Yeah.
When you said Sanny,
Go and fucking move that glass. I'm so nervous about this glass.
I know.
when you said Sanny, I was thinking sandwich, and I was like, Mirror Sanny. What the fuck's a
Mirror
Mirror
of
Mirror
Sanny?
of, Mirror of Fanny.
A sandwich of mirrors. Mirror of fire.
But we've got another song called Humanity, which talks about the world going to fuck. We've got another song called It, which is quite cool.
Says it like
Just
it is.
imagine him on like BBC getting. I've got a song that's all about the world going to fuck.
And then I've got another song called It, which talks about these sea creatures coming for the water.
Okay,
and,
you're really.
killing.
I don't know.
Fucking chair.
Other than putting a sign up, I don't know what else I've told. Like,
He would ignore it.
You can't because
It's
it'll
just-
just
it's one of
just
those
people won't hear you.
nervous-
He's
That's- that's
fidgeting.
fine.
Can we give him something to fidget with?
But you baby, but
Just hold your glass, 2 hands.
but
Right.
No, he'll fucking spill it or something. Fidget, hold that.
thanks. What is this?
I don't know.
Thought it was a razor there or something. Yeah, just for man.
Gillette,
Gillette.
the best a man can get.
Okay, sorry. Go
You're
on.
like Gillette, eh,
sorry,
Chris?
sorry, dude. But I'm on fire tonight, baby. But no, I like the song "It," which talks about sea creatures coming and ripping everybody apart, coming for the sea.
What, like the
and
Kraken in that?
killing it. Aye, like the Call of Cthulhu, like the kind of metallic.
Aye.
So it's really grounded in reality. This album is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, half the album talks about the
But you can't
concepts.
talk about how the world's going to fuck and then switch to sea monsters.
Well, maybe that's how the world is going to fuck.
People are going to be like, I can't tell if this is because you'll be talking about.
Sam makes a sorry for interrupting. Sam makes a joke about that, but the Master of Puppets album talks about disposable hero, talks about fallen heroes going to war,
Right.
killing for oil and killing for
Sea monsters.
Sea monsters. That's
Like,
it.
and for
Killing
more
for
for
the
money and all
government,
that kind
war
of
for
stuff.
money.
Aye.
And then they've got another song. It's called "The Thing That Should Not Be,"
Mhm.
which talks about a sea creature coming with a guy called H.P. Lovecraft, who had a kind of mythical being called the Cthulhu, and this was this mythical kind of sea creature thing.
Are you trying to rip off
Sea.
Metallica, Chris? Is that what you're
Well,
trying to
the
do?
Fall of Justice artwork, which is kind of like the Halls of Justice with the kind of crosses.
It's kind of like the Injustice for All cover with like the lady and that, eh?
It's kind of like that mixed with like Master of Puppets Ride the Lightning, but its own style. And I've got the square gravestones, like the military gravestones, with like 5 of my students that died, leukemia, cancer, my gran, my dad, and the people I've lost in my life,
Mhm.
which means somebody and my father's name and the sword with the lightning bolt and the graveyard in the background. It's quite cool artwork. It was actually
Aye, I've seen your picture of it on Facebook. Who did that for you?
You need to plug
Tim
in.
Burton's.
Tim
Burton's
Burton.
art.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
Like the
Tim
fucking
Burton,
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. No, it was his artist that done it. A guy called Tom Roberts, who's on Facebook.
Tom Roberts.
And he does a lot of work for
Tim Burton.
different people, and a couple of Tim Burton movies as well. But it cost me about 250 quid, but it was
Holy
well
shit.
worth it. It was really, really nice. Spent a lot of money in it. I paid it in my own pocket, and it's good.
Have you
But-
had any notification about the audio, by the way?
No, my phone's on the
Yeah.
floor.
Hey, pal.
Sorry,
But,
just we need to make sure. You don't want to spend the whole 2 hours just not having volumes at the right level and shit.
But no, the album itself is basically it's got the concept to Fall of Justice, Mirror of Sanity. We've got songs like Hell Centuries, which talks about kind of demons and possessed stuff, and then I've got another song which is called Cancer Messiah, which talks about kind of what my father had died and stuff like that, and his illness, and watched them decay for like the 6 months. And the album kind of relates to, it's quite a selfish album because the artwork was kind of a concept my father had a while ago with the Halls of Justice and Lady Justice and stuff like that. Plus, on top of that, I'm not selfish to the band, but the drummer I'm with, he's like 18. He's one
What
of
do
the
you mean
best
by
drummers
selfish?
I've seen. One of the best drummers I've seen. I mean, selfish meaning having a few songs about me and what I experienced, rather opposed to. I feel like I'm a Stalinist or an Adolf.
But that's
Hitler
like what
here.
artists do. Like they write songs about things that are relevant to them.
Do you
Yeah,
mean
but
do you mean
it's-
just because you're not including other band members? Do you mean that way or?
I'm not a selfish person because I mean, like I say, I've worked with over 1,400 students and coached about 300 or 400 bands. But with myself, this album, I'd say half the songs are about like my father's life story,
Mhm.
about the fall of justice, how the world's fucked with corrupt, like obviously America going.
But
in.
that's not really selfish. That's like a view that the public could have as well.
But see, the thing is, like the drummer likes for lyrics as well,
Right.
as well as myself. So, like for example,
He's like Neil Peart, is he? Like Neil
Yeah,
Peart
well,
writes for
he's
Rush.
better,
eh?
he's better than Neil Peart.
That's a fucking big claim, Chris.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, some teenagers are well better instruments because they've got more time. You understand? Fair enough, he's in a full-time band, obviously Rush, Metallica and that, but as you get older, you get slower. You know what I mean? It's true. I look at Les Paul, he was like 89 or something when he died, you know what I mean? He had arthritis, his fingers were fucked, could hardly even play guitar, so... but honestly, but our drummer, Ewan's just such an amazing drummer, really good. But he has like...
So are
lyrics
you
as
playing
well.
anywhere, or are you still kind of writing this
No,
album?
we're just in the studio at the moment, so we're just practicing once a week, songwriting, and basically just trying to get our album finished. We're from their 5th song,
Uh-huh.
5 to go, and then it's a mixture between Black Sabbath meets Metallica, meets some Megadeth, meets some of our own influences in there as well. So it's kind of like a thrash metal based band. But one of the songs, Cancer Messiah, which just to finish on, I want to talk about some subjects, is quite a personal song with anybody that's lost a family member. See, this is a thing for me. Like when you lose a family member, as my father always taught me, people go, give you all the support and the safety net for 2 months, 3 months, and like fuck off, back to work. You know what I mean? Which is a very, very true saying, and I just felt like that was like that for me. And in unfortunate circumstances, when I did lose my dad, as you know as well, Sam, the viewers know, not going into too much detail, I lost my sisters, my brother, everybody turned against me.
You didn't lose them in the same way, though.
I did, in a way, because then it was like the mask, like Freddy Krueger, or Jason, the mask had been taken off, and I seen the true colours.
Yeah,
of
I
the
just
family.
mean like because some of the viewers might think you mean that they've.
Well, I lost my
passed
gran
on,
last
whatever.
year. I lost my auntie, lost my uncle, lost my grandpa, lost my dad. So I mean, I'm not a sympathy kind of person like that, but losing a lot of family has an effect on it. And there's a lot of people that are listening that's probably lost a family member or still have other families. But then some people in life have this safety net, and as soon as they lose a father and mother, like shit, what do I do? And I was left on my own. So that's why my music schools, my teaching, and mean the world to me, especially the new women, the new love of my life, and with Nadine as well. So she's just such a great person, and hopefully one day, if she wants to move to Toronto, she does. I'd in a heartbeat move away with her. But obviously, I would still do my good Skype podcast with these good gentlemen here. Like,
And you're thinking about doing your own podcast as well.
yeah,
Is he?
I'm thinking
Holy
about
shit.
doing it from a
Dipping your toe in the
tent.
pond, Chris.
I'm gonna do it in a tent.
In a tent?
Yeah, I've got
Why
a
a
big
tent?
I've got a big gazebo thing that I'm going to set up, like a big thing, and maybe do like a kind of music thing and like my own podcast where
Like,
people can.
where is the tent? Is like in
just
your
up in my mum's,
mum's
just
back garden?
aye. And in the summer, people can phone up and ask questions about music and stuff like that, and can help them with chords or repairs or whatever.
But
as
like,
well.
what's the significance of the tent? What's the message?
Oh no, it's just that'll be my headquarters, like this big.
A big
marquee
tent.
thing. Aye, it's a big tent. It's quite cool.
That's crazy. That's like a fucking wild idea. Like,
It's not a
I'll
tent.
get
It's
to a
not a
podcast.
tent. It's like a marquee thing.
Should
Like a
wear
big
face
massive
paint as well.
marquee
Aye.
thing. I should go Rambo style.
What if it's really windy and you're trying to talk and you just like,
In the summer, nah, it should be alright.
it might be windy. Sometimes it's windy in summer.
Ah well.
What if there's like a guy next door and he's like having a barbecue and he's got like a wild dog and the dog's barking and they're all shouting and that and you're trying to do a music podcast?
Just
That's
throw
the
a
thing,
ball at
because
his
you
mouth.
kind of like. I mean, we don't have the setup that.
Audio's good.
Oh, good. We don't have the setup that we.
Can do
We'd
it
like.
in a marquee.
But I mean, you typically want to have like soundproof and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have the tent inside of a room.
Yeah, but I might not fit in the room because my room's not too big enough.
But like, get a wee camp, like a wee 3-man tent, and you could all just sit in it cross-legged.
Nah, that's
Or
a bit
get
gay.
2 couches and put them together
Yeah.
and make a fort.
Yeah, make like a fort. Call it like tent cast or something. I think you're onto something with that, Chris.
I think I could be onto something. I mean, that'd be good. Maybe doing like a couple of wee podcasts.
You
but
could like try. You could get a sleeping bag company to sponsor you, like Tissot that make like mountain jackets, or I don't know.
well,
you could get into camping.
yeah, you never know. I mean, but just to get back on the album, like I'm really looking forward to it because it's the album sound like kind of Master of Puppets meets Justice for All, like literally.
Have you got any that we can hear,
There's a
like
one
on YouTube or that?
on Facebook on the Injustice thing. There's like a wee 20-second teaser of what's to come. But like
I
say,
don't
we're
have
gonna
the
start
audio levels
recording.
sorted for
Right,
that,
okay, no problem.
so I won't be able to play
We
anything.
could have plugged it, but it's
Yeah.
on Facebook. Where's your Facebook, Chris? What's your Facebook address?
Unjustice, if you just
Unjustice.
type Unjustice. But the thing is, like, to finish on it, like the album concept's really good because it's talking about. I've got a song about independence. We've got an instrumental. We've got a song about independence. We've got
The
another
Will Smith film.
song. What Independence Day? You're
Yeah.
talking about? No, I know the American.
Well, you're talking about Men in Black.
This
thought
is
there
what
was
I mean,
like
Chris.
I thought
People
there was
are
like
getting
a Will
confused.
Smith
Scottish
theme going.
independence. That is so. But and the whole thing, how the government. and
So this is what you wanted to talk about last week as well. This is the subject you started off on, Scottish independence.
well, and the good words.
What's your beef?
Still near and dear to
Oh,
your heart.
well, the good words, as my father said, is just basically it's Labour have totally drowned the UK for years, and you get some of the no disrespect to a lot older people in their 60s and 70s.
They're the only people that he doesn't want to offend.
And they're the only
No
people that tune
disrespect.
into this podcast as well.
Yeah.
So
Possibly.
tread lightly.
Possibly, yeah, OAPs. No, I mean, we got fucked with the Scottish independence thing on about 5 levels, probably more, but the 5 top points was 1, fuck the bedroom tax. I mean, that obviously was going to happen inevitably, but the main thing for myself was how it divided Scotland apart and people apart, like seeing some of my students and some Rangers supporters. The one thing, Rangers supporters, in my opinion, one thing I hate about Rangers supporters, they fly Union Jack, and obviously for me it's offensive to say a Union Jack because it's like
Nobody's safe for you, are they, Chris?
well, no,
Nobody's
I mean,
safe.
I'm totally a nationalist, obviously, and I'm proud
Right.
I'm no racist thing like that, but I just feel like
Are you a British nationalist?
No.
I just
No,
love to have went to a Rangers game when we got Scottish independence and seen all the Rangers flag. Oh, can't fly Union Jack anymore? That would have been quite funny. But I mean, I'm nothing against Rangers or Celtic. Quite frankly, I hate the two of them just as much as each other.
So you do have something against them.
No, I just
I fucking hate the two
I just
of them.
think a lot of people have died and a lot of people have been injured and a lot of people fell out over football and sectarianism and that, and I just think it's a waste of life, just like religion. But we'll get to religion in a wee while. But
Don't worry, viewers. Religion's
don't worry,
coming.
religion's coming. The Pope's going to get poked. But
Pope's going to get poked. That's a
But-
fucking t-shirt, Sam. Can you do that in your...
The Pope's gonna get poked.
We'll work for t-shirts.com.
But no, I mean, like I say, the whole thing is like George Galloway. When I met him, when I was handing out my flyers, it was quite funny.
What
But,
flyers were you handing out, Chris?
I'll send it in the next podcast. Or
Can you not just tell us?
But it was basically four people we had on it. It was Margaret Thatcher, it was Tony Blair, it was David Cameron, and Nigel Farage. And what I had is
Oh, God.
basically I had Margaret Thatcher in the top, saying basically the Tories the past 30 years have
Did you
destroyed.
make these? Or like...
No, I made it myself.
Right.
And it's like I had her destroying the mining industry, and then it was quite funny when I was in Glasgow. This guy says, "I don't want to vote independence. I'm going to be poor." I says, "Mate, you're already eating beans and toast. You're fucking electricity."
He's in his kitchen. Chris Fleming home invasion. You're already eating beans and toast.
You're already poor. Your electricity and gas through the roof. You're fucking broke, and you want to support a government down in Westminster that has you have no say in whatsoever. You know what I mean? All your taxes goes to this English school, English hospitals, and we get thrown the bone. And then the big lie people says, oh, oil will run out in 50 years' time. Bullshit. They said that, Margaret Thatcher said that 36 years ago, 1979, oil would run out, and then obviously we'll have our own parliament, Scottish Parliament in Edinburgh, evolved from the Sermon on the Mount in 1988 with Margaret Thatcher and her speech that was derogatory towards Scottish people because she was a Nazi bastard. And I just feel like this old guy says to me, says, "Son, if we get Scottish independence, I'll be poor." I says, "Mate, you're already poor." I says, "Mate,
You're eating beans on
I
toast.
says,
beans on toast.
30 years ago." That's it. I says 30 years ago when your whole family...
Imagine that was like.
You're already poor. You're eating beans on toast. I like beans on toast.
Imagine that
I
was
quite
his
enjoy it.
go-to line for everyone he's arguing with. And then I said to him, "Mate, you're eating beans and toast."
You're already poor.
That's his fucking metaphor for he's been fucked in the argument.
Do you like my wee Lucky Charm, my wee Thor bracelet? Yeah.
Aye.
Eat it in, baby.
On the oil thing,
Yeah, so I was getting back to it. The guy was like, "Oh, I'll be broke."
well, I was going to say to
You've
you,
opened up a lot of doors here, Chris. I still want to hear
Um,
about the flyer.
so you don't believe in peak oil, you don't believe that oil's going to be non-existent
Well,
30
no, in
years?
no, I mean, that's on a whole nother debate. I need to look in more to that. I mean, personally, at the moment, for
Because
knowledge
my take on that argument is whether we're going to have oil or not is actually irrelevant, because we're going to get so much of our energy from renewable energies.
and sun, solar,
Solar power is going to
electricity,
take over in 15 years, and
magnets,
the whole argument.
Magnets.
What's that?
magnetic, as
Magnetic
well, like
energy.
magnetic energy as well, cars, roads, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But the thing is, putting that aside, is lies. We all went based it on a lie. As George Galloway says, Iraq was based along a fucking lie, weapons of mass destruction.
Fucking ridiculous.
I know. He is ridiculous.
You
Fucking right.
were fucking...
Chop my hands. But no, I mean, the thing is, like, just to brush up on the few points, is when the old guy says to me that, and I says to him, I says, 30 years ago, I says, you
You
can't
would have
turn-
beans on toast.
You're going to
No,
go
no,
to the
let me
beans
say it,
toast
let me say it.
fucking
I know.
do it.
But he says, come on, this is no slag Chris Fleming week, come on. So, but when I see
The week's not over yet.
it's not over till I say, baby. But honestly, I mean, the guy was like, "I'll be poor and broke." I says, "You're already poor and broke.
You're
You
eating
get
beans
a
on
minimum
toast.
wage. You get a minimum wage pension. you got hardly any money. The only treat you ever get's a fucking French fancy each week. You know what I mean?
What the fuck's the French going on? What is it?
It's
Are
a
you in
cake.
this guy's house?
It's a cake.
Fucking going through. I know what a French fancy is. And you fucking going through his cupboards.
No, I'm just saying. It's like it's a saying.
You
Like,
fuck all in here, mate.
You got beans and toast, French
French
fancies.
fancies.
Get
That your
fucked.
meat treat at the end of the week.
Independence.
for a French fancy. But no, I mean honestly, the thing
Oh,
that really,
fucking hell.
the thing that really irritated me was when he says, "Oh, we'll be poor if we go independent." The guy had no knowledge. He was 66, 67. He was an illiterate retard that believed the BBC. And the thing is,
I
like,
want this guy in the podcast.
the thing is, like, people say, right. Understand people in the 60s.
Maybe
70s.
that's why he was eating beans and toast. Maybe he's got fucking loads of money, but
Sam.
he can't read the labels on his fucking
No.
French
Get out of
fancy.
my fucking house, mate.
I'm trying to bring up serious points here on this issue as well. But honestly, like, he did say 30 years ago, like, I'm trying not to be too serious here, he did say, "I was a bit with Margaret Thatcher before you were born." I was like, "That's fine." But you just had a baby there, Paul.
No,
you're
I
right.
just like he was going to bit with Margaret Thatcher. Best mates.
But honestly,
Can
like,
we get somebody that's like an artist out there to draw as a fucking vision of what this guy's like? I picture like a shitty jacket, like fingerless gloves, and just sitting in a kitchen with empty cupboards. Do you know what I mean?
well, I mean,
Pictures
the
of
thing-
Margaret Thatcher on the wall.
fucking and sucking him off. But no, with his wee French fancy on his head.
And Chris Fleming just run about the kitchen raging. What am I going to eat?
Where's my beans and toast, you bastard?
He's got a slice of toast with beans. He's like, "You're going to be poor."
Fuck
You
no,
got to
mate.
eat that French fancy. Sorry, go on. He was hanging
No,
out
it's
with-
alright.
He was.
But to put it in perspective, he says, "You wonder about some of Margaret Thatcher. You didn't know what you're talking about." I says, "Yeah, but I've looked into the history of it. My family were affected." He says, "Some of my family were minors, were made poor, left with nothing, struggling, got left homeless, starving kids, the whole lot." And it's a cheek for people. And the reason why I said illiterate people, I actually really meant that, because the fact of the matter is the only education he had is the BBC. And now what's the BBC gave us? Lies with 9/11, lies about fucking Jimmy Savile, they covered up so many different things, you know what I mean? And basically masked everybody to believe in the media. And
I agree with you on that, and I
And
advise anyone to cancel their television license.
Yeah.
Just watch us. Just
Well,
as good.
I mean, I wouldn't. I obviously, definitely, but I mean,
What?
I definitely watch us. But I was saying I wouldn't. There's some news I believe, but I'm talking about like the mainstream, like the main.
Oh no, it
stories.
doesn't matter how much of it's true, how much of it's whatever. They do engage in propaganda,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then it's just, well, if they're
You're
going to
right.
do it once, if they're going to do it twice,
Yeah,
the
again.
whole thing's fucked. Fuck it.
But the guy was offended to me because I powered him. I said I actually destroyed him in the argument. I says, okay. I says, if we go independent, I says, fair enough. I goes, where's your proof that will be broke? I says, 30 years ago, and you laugh at this again, when all your family were broke and eating beans and toast. What was happening back then? You know what I mean? I was like, you were poor. You wanted change back then. And people want, this is the best argument ever. I said, Labour and the Tories. Fuck Greenpeace and Liberals. The only thing they've done is 1% of the country. They've not done anything for the country. They'll never get a say because the majority. But people say, I hate Labour. That's all you've got in this country and the UK is Labour and Tories. We're doing it in England anyway.
Does Greenpeace know what like helps whales and that?
Yeah, but Greenpeace as well are got a lot of kind of psychotic hippies as well that just want to run about in blooming purple cars and just live in the 60s and fuck John Lennon's corpse, you know what I mean? They're weirdos. I hate Greenpeace. And I'm for recycling and stuff like that and for the world and stuff like that and renewable energy, but they're just crazy. And the thing for me is like Labour and the Tories. You've got UKIP as well, but obviously everybody say they're a bunch of Stalinist Nazis. They're wankers. I hate Nigel Farage. But the thing is, I love SNP. A lot of people give them a hard game. And the thing that really irritates me is they got a majority in Scotland. It was like, I can't remember the figure. It was like 54%, 60%. It was a high percentage anyway. And I would have thought we would have won the independence thing. But then I
Aye.
found that a lot of the ballads in Glasgow, North Lanarkshire and Dundee were flung out. And it was quite funny on the day of the referendum. Clackmannanshire was first, obviously, their county. and obviously we got known that. But the three places that won the yes vote was North Lanarkshire, where I stood, Glasgow, and Dundee. There was a power cut in Dundee, where the polling station was, where they were counting the tickets. Glasgow only had 74% when it was like a higher percentage because some of the ballot papers was missing. And North Lanarkshire as well was experiencing problems with
just for our viewers as well. We actually did a whole podcast on all that stuff.
We actually did a couple of them about the independence.
Yeah, we've got a podcast that's titled Scottish Independence, and we show all the footage, all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
If you
Was
want
that
to know
with
more about
Sandy's
that
dad?
stuff. Yeah,
But who? Sorry again.
Sandy's dad, Sandy as well. Sandy McLeese.
Aye.
His dad was on
His
the
dad
podcast.
was on the podcast.
He was quite big into the whole
Alright.
independence thing.
He fell out with me recently, Sandy McLeese, over something.
Don't get sidetracked.
But anyway,
Doing well. You've got
okay,
enough
Mr.
beef.
Mr. Joker here. But honestly, the thing is, it really irritates me. Like George Galloway when I was handing out flyers, and this is what I done to rile up the Yes campaign, because I was on the side of the Yes campaign in George Square, but I wanted to rile them up to get anger and hatred towards the No campaign. So what I done was I had my flyer, which we'll get back to. It had Adolf Hitler merged with. No, listen, I had Adolf Hitler.
I want to
merged-
see this flyer one.
I'll show you. It's Adolf
Please
Hitler.
do.
I cut his face out and put Nigel Farage's face on it. I had the
So
second
wait a
picture.
minute. Did they have did you leave the moustache on him?
I drew a moustache on then.
Right,
Nigel
that's alright
Farage.
then, because otherwise it would just be Nigel Farage.
Well, I guess that one. I had Margaret Thatcher, and underneath it, so it took all our mining industry, our steelworks, and sold it to foreign countries, along with racist against foreign countries.
So you should have got like a minor and Photoshop
No,
her
it was
face.
it was more a slogan there with that saying. Then I had David
What the
Cameron.
fuck was that noise?
It's Timmy.
David Cameron that's broke all the pensioners, who's destroyed them all, made them penniless, fucked, made the rich rich, the poor poor. Then I had Tony Blair. I put Disneyland blood oil, because sent a lot of blood money, sent a lot to America and stuff like that with George Bush. Obviously went into the war, killed 100,000 innocent people because I lie. And there's obviously George Galloway. The one thing I did back with him was obviously he was against the war and didn't want anybody to go in, which I was
Right.
against it as well. But he was a traitor, George Galloway, and basically I was handed the flyers, and at the bottom of it that was the No campaign. I had the four Muppets at the top, and it goes. Are you fed up of these Muppets? Vote aye. And I had at the bottom Robert the Bruce with the whole Scottish thing. And I get a lot of people that are probably no supporters saying, oh, you can't go about the past 700 years ago, blah, blah, blah. But then again, people have been looking at the past for 70, 80 years, ever since after World War II, Labour was founded, and the Tory government. That's all we've ever had. And they're both just as bad as each other. When Labour gets in, they bankrupt the NHS, they make hundreds of people unemployed, and they fuck our country up. And then Tories, they give every rich person a tax break. You know what I mean? It's handy for businesses and stuff like that. But working class people lose out in money. And then the other thing they do is they raise taxes, and they'll just drink alcohol, like clothes, food, everything. There's no consideration for people. But SNP, when SNP...
But do you expect them to have consideration for people?
You should. I mean, that's why obviously
No, but-
SNP...
Because I don't. I don't. Like, I'm
SNP.
not. When you describe politicians being corrupt or being bad or not thinking about those further down the ladder.
Oh no,
that doesn't
SNP are corrupt as well. I mean, I'm not, every single party can be corrupt. I'm not going to deny that for a second. I understand what you're going to
So,
say.
but
in
my
but-
point is though, what's your solution? Because
No, but
even to an extent, what's your grievance?
my
Because
solution would be get Steven Seagal. No, I'm not joking. Get Chuck Norris. But no, I mean, my solution is that there's none, because you're always going to have people at top. As long as you have the Orange Order, the Masonic Lodge, and they scum, you'll always have that. You always have the Illuminati. You'll always have people and puppets in power. That's the problem. But the thing for me that really irritates me, with Labour are the worst. They're the biggest Nazis ever.
Apart from the Nazis.
No, they're worse. They're worse than the Nazis.
They're bigger Nazis than Nazis.
Oh yeah, because Labour have
and
slowly...
what about UKIP? They get compared to Nazis. You fucking put Nigel Farage's face on Hitler.
Oh, UKIP, don't get me wrong, I think the Nazis are, but the reason
Hey, let's
why
do the Nazi order. There's the Nazis, UKIP, then
Labour,
Labour.
Tories.
The Nazi order.
That's the Nazi order, but
The scale, that's an official scale.
official scale. But no, the thing with SNP is they gave us free prescriptions, free university, better education. They've helped a lot of older people, free bus passes. They've introduced so much over the past 20 years. And then there's a lot more things they could have introduced, like for example, better education, helping poorer people, a lot more projects for younger people, youth centres, all that. But then the Tories want to take away that. What do the Tories do? They close down things all the time. They never leave anything.
Well, the thing is, there almost has to be that sort of ebb and flow, because whenever they're making stuff free, like there's a debt to be paid back if they're not generating enough money.
Yeah, but the thing is, we had enough money.
Maybe have 4 years of like free shit, and then 4 years of
Paying for shit.
You're paying for shit.
People say the Queen makes the most revenue, which is bullshit. There's more revenue made in Scotland with tourism and our oil and our food and our drink. And people say, oh, is that it? There's more to Scotland than that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of kind of self-employed workers that work in construction and stuff like that as well.
Not for long.
Nah, but so obviously
It's all about the robots, Chris.
until we eradicate money, then unfortunately we're still going to have that, and it's not going to be a long time.
Yeah, but it won't be people that are getting paid. It'll be employers that then use that money to fund machines to do the work. And
not everything
More
can
money,
be done.
no,
there'll
but
still be money circulating.
More robots,
still-
less money.
You'll end up with a universal basic income.
But
That's
look at
what
all
I
the
think.
technology so far, even with Apple and stuff like that, like everything they brought out. There's still people in jobs doing that. So I think another debate one day. I don't believe that the machine's going to take over every single.
Well, the
job.
thing is, Apple
I've
actually could be taken over by mechanization. That's completely possible. The
Mhm.
problem is, because we live in a fucking market system where you need continuous new products every so often, they can't all be the same.
Yeah.
You were saying to me, or it might be you were saying, about the new Apple kind of looks a bit Samsung-ish, the new
Yeah.
Apple phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Now the thing is, they could, if basically the shape of the phone and what was in the phone was going to be the same all the time, they could. It would be so cheap just to mechanize that. But the
Yeah.
thing is, because they need to reinvent the design of the product, it just works out cheaper to have humans doing it.
Yeah,
But in
rather than
terms of, like-
changing how they build it every year and all that.
in
kind
terms
stuff.
of what's technically possible, though, if we didn't live in this fucking system, and that's not even Apple, that's Apple's just being a part of the system. That's
Yeah.
the shareholders that demand a new product every fucking, 6 months or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Well,
But in terms of the mechanization, the ability to do it, if Foxconn's the company that makes all these Apple phones, and they've actually spoke about trying to figure out a way of doing it. It's just because of this fucking weird.
I feel like you're a
turnover
visionary
things.
in a way, Sam, with that. I mean, you've got good points, but like people were saying this 20 years. I mean, the iPad was about 20 years ago. There's actually a thing you can check up on YouTube with Apple commercial. In fact, sorry, the iPad was out in 1989. Where
Whoa.
I know this has gone way back.
Oh, it was a prototype of a tablet.
Yeah, it was a
Oh, aye,
prototype
and then
of a
like,
tablet.
did Windows not try and copy it or something like that as well?
Yeah.
Aye.
So it was out years ago, you know what I mean? And you had all these visionaries saying, oh, in the future there'll be less jobs, there'll be machines will take over this and that. 25 years later, like Margaret Thatcher, we've still got all the same jobs. Some of the jobs have been done away with. You talk about these driverless cars, taxis, this and that. Yeah, eventually it's not going to be like, what's that film Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall or someone like that, where he gets in and it's like a kind of...
They live on Mars
Very,
and
very
that.
close. There's a company called Uber that you can basically phone up and it's like a taxi service kind of thing. And when that gets all fucking automated and it's driverless cars, that is that scene from Total Recall.
I've seen it in Top Gear as well, when they do it with kind of like trucks and stuff like that as well.
You need to watch for Top Gear. They kind of downplay. Like I was saying this to you,
Aye.
they actually
Jeremy
got sued.
Clarkson's downplayed everything.
Well, they actually got sued from Tesla Motors because they test drove a Tesla and made it out to be completely shit and it could only go so far. They actually got sued over that because it was a fucking bold-faced lie.
Aye.
Tesla are good cars. I mean, I know like a lot of famous musicians in the States drive a bit one.
And that's
Jay-Z had one.
this is only. I mean, it's very slowly rolling out. And you're right. Like in the 90s, they had the EV1 electric car. We
Aye.
could have been doing a lot better than what we're doing now. It's not to be celebrated. The fact that we're not there yet. You know what I mean? Like we could be doing so much more.
Listen to Alex Jones here. No,
Fucking, I'm 10 times the fucking. Anyway.
but I honestly like. I mean, I know.
But that's going to happen. That's going to be a reality. Tesla, the cars that they're introducing, because of the way market economics works, the cars that they're introducing are fucking high-end cars. Once they start to sell them off, and once they've got more money and can invest in stuff, they're hoping for 2017 to release commercially viable, for the
Yeah,
the
like
lower
the
end.
normal market.
I mean, it's still, you're talking about maybe $30,000 or something. but it's more of that. It's more.
Aye, the more high end is it, it's just
Yeah. So when that happens, this is the other thing as well. When that happens, and that goes back to what we were saying about oil, people are going to have fucking solar panels on the roof. My mum has an electric car and solar panels on the roof, and she now doesn't have to pay for petrol.
It's bullshit still. Millions of that's bullshit. That's 5%. It was always be 95%.
that'll just get more and more.
But up until a couple of years ago, her option to have solar panels and buy an electric car, that wasn't a choice. You didn't have that option. Now you have that option. Government are actually helping with things like But forget the price of oil. The need for oil only go down.
Some of the Jesus fucking hell.
Yeah, we don't want that.
But you should watch some of the documentaries on oil tycoons, some of the people in bomb to fuck American kids, stuff like that. But you should whether it's Saudi Arabia, all of these multi-billionaires, they're monopoly. So if you think for 1 second, in 5 years' time, the electric cars are going to bottom, you're going to ask them, like, no. I'll give examples like Gillette razors. For example, the guy in the 60s invented the cream. Jesus fucking river. All Cameron Sam. Click off that. Fucking hell, you're right, mate.
Fucking
But you can't stay right anyways. But sorry, but honestly, like, if you look at like the 60s, like you get it for women nowadays. You get, this is random, completely weird subject. You get hair removal cream to put on the legs, takes the hair away. Why the guys don't put it in their face? Save them shaving, save loads of money and buying razors. It's not even.
I've actually wondered that.
Why are we talking about razors?
No.
I don't know, but
See, Sam's confused here because he's not listening. No, but honestly, like, if you go and buy
I don't know
razors-
what point he was trying to make, but
I'm trying to point obviously about oil to electric cars, how like through time oil will disappear. Through time it'll be hundreds of years before that happens.
Why hundreds?
Because, like I say,
What's
the
your
oil-
timeline? If you're saying hundreds,
Well,
how many hundreds?
I'd probably estimate a couple of 100 years easy we'll still have oil.
200 years.
Because if you
So
think
what
about
stage, how much oil will we have in 75 years? Have you really mapped this out, or are you
I've-
just saying
well,
hundreds?
I've not mapped it out completely, but
Right.
I mean, I'm just.
What I'm saying is I have mapped out,
Hmm.
and I'm talking 14 to 17 years from now,
Hmm.
we'll have more than what the planet now uses energy-wise. We'll have more than that from solar alone.
You got evidence of that?
Yeah. It's exponential growth. If you go back and look at the exponential growth of solar energy,
But you've
Right.
been a visionary. You're looking at something.
it's doubled
that's not
approximately every 2 years,
happened.
right? We're now
what the fuck is this shit?
go and grab that. It's behind that curtain. It's doubled approximately every 2 years. We're now at
Sure, mum, so.
1 sec.
Oh,
You guys.
bye, Sam.
Right,
No, but
what
no,
were you saying?
But what we're saying with Sam is, like, I understand his point. Through time, there will be electric cars, solar power, and that, and it's a good point. But what I'm trying to say is, like, in the 60s, a guy was bumped off by razor companies, stuff like that, because he invented a cream that took the hair off. And women use it, obviously. But guys, the reason why...
You cut you off. It's where'd my fucking headphones go?
I was
Like
talking there,
through
Sam,
them
dude.
away in a rage.
What it is
You need
the,
to go as a police there.
the sound does this every fucking podcast about 1 hour. It's usually about 1 hour 15 minutes in. Sometimes it happens
Sam-
before that.
Sam's just trying to be professional here.
Aye, well I am. It's my podcast. So like, bear with us. It'll be like
For
10
now.
minutes.
And then it'll
10
get
minutes
better.
max, and then the sound will adjust.
Yeah.
It does this. I don't know why it does this. I don't know how to fix it. Hopefully it's already kind of sorted itself. But if the sound's all fuzzy and shit, there's nothing we can do to sort it. We don't know why it does that. It does it every podcast.
But-
it only lasts about 10 minutes. So just bear with us. Okay.
Yes. Right,
Sorry.
Chris,
But-
you're talking about women's hairy legs.
Aye, so basically, I think was it your aunties? Was it? Aye, no, I'll let you on. But basically, when in the 60s, you had like the guy that came across and bumped off the guy that done that, and then in the late 70s, 80s, you had hair removal cream. You know what I mean? You could buy it easily for like a supermarket. And obviously, why was that not introduced into the men industry so that you don't need to shave? Just put it in the morning, that's it. Don't need to shave, that's it. How easy would that be? But the razor companies don't want that. It's just like the oil companies don't want electric cars, that's the point. Don't want the solar panels. They're always going to be a 10%. It's never going to get bigger and bigger. Maybe in 100 years' time, but you're going to have oil. I mean, if you think for a second, if what Sam would say was true, we would have won the independence campaign, because therefore you wouldn't have had David Cameron, what's his face, him, it looks like Beaker for the Muppets, Ed Miliband, or all the parties coming up from Westminster a week or two before the Scottish independence thing, fighting for Scotland, because the only one thing they had in the agenda was oil, because they knew they've found another 100 years worth of oil up north.
My point,
and the point is, what you're saying is, you're saying, oh, it'll double and double and double. My point is, it's not going to double, because if it was going to double and double and double and double, then I don't think, with the Scottish independence campaign, I don't think Westminster would have bored their arse. They would have said Scotland can go independent. We've got 2/3 of the oil for Europe, or something like that. So that's why it was an important stronghold for Westminster to get involved, because they wanted a lot of the revenue for their own thing. So that's why I don't think, in my opinion, it'll take about, probably, if you want it to tables turn, 100 years, and not my lifetime anyway. We'll still have petrol, still, you know what I mean, the oil tycoons will still be multi-billionaires. If you can't really,
but you're
find
basing this on, and this is my point, you're basing this on the fact that the companies don't want that to come about because they'll lose money. But if these companies and like these governments
could you find me a billionaire? Could you find me a billionaire that's in solar power, or in an electric car market at the moment? They're living like the Arabs. They're oil rich.
That Elon Musk
Elon
guy's
Musk,
doing really fucking well for himself.
But there's more Arabs. There's more Arabs that are.
Well, it's been around for a lot longer. The electric car stuff is just kind of coming into. But GM's Coven, you know, you've got the Nissan Leaf. All these companies are starting to introduce these electric cars. This is really, really new, and you have to look at the.
And even cars that aren't doing like full electric cars, they're all going hybrid stuff. Like BMW's trying hybrid stuff. Like your mum's got a Mitsubishi.
So you have to look at the grand scale of things. Like, I mean, it is kind of new in the long. You know,
the first car were powered with steam. You know what I mean? Like
I used to power cars by steam.
But my point is, if you're saying that it won't happen because of governments or companies that don't want it to happen,
governments and BP and Shell and stuff like that, they'll be about. They've been about since the 40s. They're going to be about for another 100 years. Easy.
We don't live in a world of what they say goes.
We do.
Well, if we do, this was going to be another point.
Until the resources.
If we live in a world of what they say goes, and we don't really have any control, why the fuck were all the English parties coming up here to campaign and to appeal if they really control everything in the background?
They were getting paid by oil tycoons to keep the best interest the people in England.
So that we don't
so
vote.
They can get money.
So that we don't vote for independence, because if we did that, then things would change. So they don't have as much control over everything as you might think. It really does come down to what people vote for.
Nah, I don't. I think.
And in terms of like oil and electricity and all that stuff, people vote with their money.
Sorry. Yeah,
people vote with their money, and
more people.
And more people. See, the incentive is built in there. If you can have electric fucking solar panels providing electricity,
with the independence cat.
Not with the independence. With the solar power, there's incentive built in, because it's then it saves you money.
Disney, but it's like 40 grand, 30 grand a car or something like that. You know what I mean? It's still really expensive.
At the moment,
help you with it.
At the moment, but right now,
£2,000 is still.
But
at the moment, right now,
but then how much money do you spend on petrol a year the whole time that you own a car? And you're paying for the car as well.
Well, if you're spending,
and you don't spend road tax on electric cars as well, so that saves you money.
But then again, you don't spend road tax on cars that are like classic cars or hot rods as well if it's over 30,
Aye,
40
but that's
years.
like, they're older cars. Not everybody's running around in 25-year-old cars.
It's rubbish though. If you think 28 grand for an electric car or 25 grand.
Aye, but that will only get cheaper.
Aye, but if you're spending just say it was £2 grand a year for 10 years, it'd take 10 years and people don't have cars for 10 years. Sometimes have it for estimated 2 to 5 years.
But what we're saying is
but-
we're not saying that the people that would usually buy a car for 10 grand are going to go buy a 30,000. We're saying there's people out there who already buy cars that are £30,000 cars.
Yeah. So
So those people, you've got the incentive of, well, if I'm going to buy a £30,000 car, I might as well get the electric one because I've got solar panels.
That's fine if you've got money, but
Yeah.
but 75% of the people, because obviously are the inland revenue,
Right, but
the
I'm
taxes
just
are
talking
high.
2017.
You're
we're going to
interrupting me
see.
here. I'm no finished, Sam. What
Sorry?
I'm trying to, sorry. What I'm trying to say is, Paul just made a good point. Yeah, it's cheaper in the long run. It isn't cheaper in the long run buying an electric car, because if you have a car for 5 years, you spend £2,000 a year on petrol and road tax and insurance. It'll take 5 years in order to make 10 grand. So you'd have to have the car for 15 years in order for it to save you money, and nobody has that car for 15 years. You know what I mean? If you go
But
buy a wee
compare that-
second-hand car at a couple of grand,
But compare that to someone who buys the exact same car, the exact same price, only it's not an electric car. They're still paying
yeah,
for petrol.
Of course they're going to.
So they've got an added monthly expense that someone who's got solar panels on the roof doesn't have.
But all the places that do electric as well, you know what I mean? Like where there's not a lot of stations that do it.
Again, we're at the beginning stages of this. Every new Tesco's and every new Asda that's being built has these solar charging stations built into them.
People don't-
IKEA has a supercharger that takes 30 minutes to charge your
Glasgow
car.
have charging bays as well, and even some of the shopping centres you can leave your car. But sometimes
There you
it
go.
takes quite a while to charge it up. Sometimes they say
That's what I'm
5
saying.
years.
IKEA's got the superchargers. It takes half an hour. You know, you do your shopping in half an hour.
But then again, do you want to wait half an hour or 30 seconds putting petrol in at the moment? I mean, that's the thing. People don't like change.
And also paying 30, 40, 50 quid.
Yeah, it takes about 60 quid to fill like my tank
if you
up.
break down the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? It's
Well, then
But
don't
it's
go in the
same
middle of
with an
nowhere
electric
where you're
car as well. You could break down an electric car.
but you can
non-electric.
can you swap the batteries in an electric car?
Yeah,
In the Teslas you
Tesla's.
How big's the battery? Because if you're in the middle of nowhere, you don't want to be walking with a big massive battery.
No.
And the
See,
canister.
Tesla has these stations. They're quite
This
cool
is
actually.
really clever.
They go in and it's basically you drive into like a station and you'd park in the right bit and the bottom would come up and take the bottom bit off. The battery is basically this flat bottom bit that's on the bottom of your car. This in the station, this thing comes up, takes it off. It's all you don't have to do anything. You sit in the car, and it's free as well. So it comes up, takes your battery, brings that down. One's already charged, ready to go. It's actually quicker. They've tested it. It's quicker than putting petrol in a full, like filling up
Filling
your
a
tank.
tank up.
It's quicker. It takes like you say 30 seconds.
I mean, not everybody fills a tank up fully, but my point is, like, anybody that's listening, I don't know who's got 30 grand to go and buy an electric car.
But the thing is,
The
Chris,
What I'm
majority-
saying is that's
30 grand
2017.
yeah,
they're going
but
to be
like 30
grand.
grand now for a car will get you like a brand new Audi, right?
And that's $30,000.
And
You compare that to,
Aye,
to
but
pounds.
well, I'm talking pounds here, and like £30,000 can get a brand new Audi, and there's plenty of people around driving in like 2015 plates out. Not everybody, but there is people that have got money that are
Debt
driving
as well
around
for
in them.
it,
But you're
What's
talking,
that?
I'm saying $30,000, so it's really about
Mm.
£24,000,
Aye.
something like that.
But that's only going to come down in price. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is 2017. They're going to launch these.
Yeah.
They've got a plan by 2025. Then you'll have
good-
an $8,000 car.
Good luck them over becoming BP and Shell. I mean, Shell already have auto gas.
But this is
But
what I'm
they-
saying.
They already
is
have charging stations, and the
But not
majority
even in the
people are
terms
using
of like
petrol.
electric cars. There's so much more houses like around here that have got solar panels on the roof than there was like last year.
Aye,
2
the,
years
the
ago.
governments are building them
Aye.
into the new builds a lot
But
of the
they're,
times.
Aye.
they're making a lot of people poor as well. They're wanting to take their electricity so that their energy companies can make money off them as well. And they
Aye,
get just
because like
a
the power goes
small
back into the
percentage.
grid. Like if you don't use all your power, then it goes into the grid.
I bet you think I'm anti solar power, anti electric car. I just feel like
I do.
you'll never get rid of the Shell and BP, not until we run out of oil. And like as I said before, you can go and check up the whole debate and the whole.
But I mean,
speech.
like Shell,
Margaret Thatcher said it all would run out.
do
in
they
30
not get
years, and it
involved
has
in
been.
like plastics and stuff like that as well?
Well, I know.
Like they make plastic or something like that. I don't know.
I
Because
think.
obviously they mine oil and like, do they not use oil in the process of making plastic and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
I mean, I know.
I don't know if they do. Like that could be total.
That's
bullshit.
why tyres are more expensive nowadays as well. You know what I mean? Tyres have shot right up in price because obviously the price of oil.
Mhm.
Same way I remember the Games Workshop. If you remember, obviously, you know, the wee models
Mhm.
used to be all like, was it no tin? It was like a special metal. They've done away with that now. because
Warhammer
We're
and all
running
that
out
stuff.
of tin. The world's running out of tin as well and stuff like that. And it's all plastic. You know what I mean? And you still spend the same fucking price on the wee shitty models. I do think oil's going to run out. I'm not going to sit there and bullshit or lie.
But my
I think
point
it'll
is, why
take
do
a
you say
long time.
hundreds of years?
Because
Where's that projection coming from?
well, it's not just for Margaret Thatcher, but you go back to World War II, they said in the 40s, especially Winston Churchill says, yeah, there's a shortage in oil, this and that, all will be running out in 10 years' time, you know what I mean? And what, 60, 70 years on, we've still got more, like, we've just found another 100 years worth of oil, do you understand, up in the North Sea, and that's just in Scotland alone. I'm not talking about America, Russia, or China or anywhere else in the world. So there's hundreds and hundreds of years worth left oil. You know what I mean? It's that's why, as I said before, I don't think I knew you understood the point. I don't think you were 100% tuned into it. That's why they came up a couple of weeks before with the end of the Scottish referendum, because they were shitting themselves, because they didn't want us to go independent so that we would have the monopoly and have all this oil money. And then you get a lot of illiterate Scottish people that think our oil's going to run out because Margaret Thatcher said it was going to run out 35 years ago. They said it was going to run out 10 years ago. Tony Blair said it was going to run out. They always say that to scaremonger people, just like obviously the whole propaganda thing you were talking about earlier, like just to control them like flocks of sheep. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist thing like that. Like Alex Jones, he's a fucking idiot, and George Galloway.
But then it's going to run out anyway.
But-
Like there's
But hundreds of years, you know what I mean? That somebody could come along and say fuck electric cars and come along with another solution that's better. In fact, there's actually I'll actually look it up specifically for the next time, where there's an even better energy source. It's better than electric cars, better than wind, better than solar. This guy came up with this thing. It was something to do with, it was not magnetic. It was somewhere on the lines of that. I will, for the next podcast.
I think
make
I know
that
what you're
point.
talking about. As far as I know, it's a hoax. But I'll let you. I know what you're talking about. It's like this magnetic thing. It charges itself.
No,
kind of
it
thing.
was nothing to do with magnetic. It was something completely different to that. So
something
Alright,
like
okay.
magnetic, but not magnetic.
It was along the lines of that, but I'll get it for the next time. Like the
Right,
next
okay.
podcast, I'll make it a die-hard must, because I've got it saved on my
Sure.
YouTube channel.
No,
But I mean, off the subject on that, back to the independence thing, because really,
forgot about that.
I mean, because I was trying to make my true point about it,
Okay.
was I think that it just shows you how racist Westminster and English people are towards Scotland, and then when some Scottish person says something against an English person, we're racist. They're honestly, I've got English friends and stuff like that, and my parents got English family, or came from English background, and my grandpa was English Londoner. But the fact of the matter is how it was conducted in a way where it was for their own interests and needs. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there was just so many different points. Like, I could be here for hours talking about it and bore everybody. Like, the main thing for me was George Galloway always slags English people off, this and that, and is proud to be Scottish. But that's why he was an MP down in Bradford or someone like that, you know what I mean, and fought for English people and this and that. He got flung out of Westminster for loads of reasons, and he was like he was like a kind of rebel, anti against the war, this and that, and then he got mocked by, you know, just Tony Blair, David Cameron, all the MPs hated him because he had these wacky, outrageous ideas. The only point I ever liked at George Galloway, that he was totally against the illegal Iraq war in 2003 against Saddam Hussein, when there was no weapons of mass destruction. And
But that's because he's a Muslim.
millions, yeah, but millions of
Muslim.
millions of people were slaughtered on the fact of a lie, and that's why since 2003 things have got worse. I mean, I'm not talking about Kuwait in '91, where
That's just some fucking heavy shit tonight, Chris, man.
no, I mean, it was quite a lot of heavy stuff, but I think George Galloway, when I met him at that rally, I just basically called him an arsehole. When I was handing out my flyers, I was like this. I was like, vote Nigel Farage, getting it to all the independence people, the pro-independence people. And I was like, yeah, vote Nigel Farage, and then blah, blah. And they were like, what? Just, they came up to me angry. I was like, no, fuck Nigel Farage like that. I was like, here's a flyer. Get this to all your friends, you know what I mean? And the reason for my flyer was to get the No campaign to wake up and go, well, wait a minute here. What have we got in this country right now? We've got Labour, who destroy our education. They want us to pay uni fees. They want to run up the bill in NHS and fuck us in the ass. They want to make single parents and people with not money out in the street broke. They want unemployed people to go that are ill to go and do rigorous tests and stuff like that, and people with disability. They want disability people to work. They want people in a wheelchair and that, which is sick. Bedroom tax, all these things, and that's Labour, the Tories, Liberals with Ed Miliband, who's another fucking muppet, and Nigel Farage, who's even worse. It does get a lot of support down in England, which is scary, and I think eventually it will be a kind of hung parliament between UKIP and what do you call them, the Tories. And that's the thing. The reason why I wanted independence was because I wanted SNP. It was a different, a lot of different views. They were for older people. They wanted to make sure that people got a decent pension. They ensured that we had free prescriptions, a better education system, and so on.
Right, well, we didn't get it. What are you going to do now?
We didn't get it, and that's the thing, because like if
What's your next move, Chris?
What's your next?
the thing
you
is,
made the flyers. You photoshopped Nigel Farage.
I've got 5,000 flyers and I got loads of people handing them out, and it was great. It was posted everywhere with a laugh.
I would love to see one of these crazy
Oh yeah,
flyers.
certainly.
Have you got it?
I've got it on my laptop. Aye.
Fire it up.
No, not on the laptop. If you've got it there, that's fine. But we're not bringing laptops in.
Oh, yeah,
Alright, put it away then.
We'll get it. We'll get it up.
Oh.
But we'll get it.
We'll get it later.
Alright, okay, I
but-
just leave
But
it.
here we go. 2 seconds. But the thing is, like, if I'm going to show the viewers actually what it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you've got an image, I can put up on the Facebook page. But
Is it on the internet, Chris?
I don't.
Yeah,
think-
I'll put it up. What I'll do is I'll send it to you, Sam. You can
Yeah.
put it up. That'd be a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes.
But the thing is, when I was handed the flyer, I felt we never got it. But we will get it, because obviously there was a thing for electoral fraud. They're looking into the European Commission, how it was conducted.
I can't see anything emerging for that.
Oh, they will. They will.
But then that goes against what you're saying about they've got control and everything like that, and it's kind of. Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
If there's fraud, there's fraud. There's nothing we can do about it.
I know, but obviously, like Masonic Lodge, your government, stuff like that, or the people in high places, did they want us to get it for oil reasons and for money reasons? That's all it's ever been about, and that's why it was
You
quite
could
funny.
say for oil kinds of reasons.
For
Oh.
oil kinds of reasons.
Tins of beans, but but the thing is, like we the Scottish Banter website and Facebook, it was quite funny. They took the piss out of it. They said it was just like slogan thing. They had a picture, a news reporter. Oh, if Scotland gets independence, a meteorite will hit Earth. You know what I mean? That's how much bullshit they were letting people believe. And the thing is, regardless, like the thing that broke my heart is we've seen fucking arseholes in Clackmannanshire and Stirling, Falkirk, anywhere in Scotland, fucking cheering, oh yes, fucking wanking their nipples off because they got fucking, oh yes, our country was a no and stuff like that. For fuck's sake, we didn't go into all the wars, and especially in Stirling, won our independence, slaughtered 110,000 English people, and there's only 10,000 of us, fought for our freedom just to throw it all away because of a vote, because of a pack of lies. It's George Galloway saying
That's
it was
racist,
a pack
dude.
of fucking lies. Of course it's racist.
A pack of lies.
Of course it's
Fucking-
Alright, pack of
Can't
lies.
say that.
Nah, obviously I
Can't
can't
say that.
I can't say that. I never actually said pack of lies, but it's used racist.
Stop
Oh,
saying
right,
that.
right,
Pack of
sorry.
lies.
I
I said a
thought
pack of lies.
Oh, sorry.
Sam, you racist bastard. But I'm not joking. But it was all a pack of lies, just like George Galloway said. You know what I mean?
You just said that again.
A pack of lies.
A pack of lies.
Pack of lies.
Pack of lies.
Because there'll be people who watch this
Yes.
that can't understand our
Yeah.
accent.
I don't think any Pakistanis are watching it. Pakistanis and Iraqis. Remember that on Tourette's guy? Pakistanis and Iraqis. But anyway.
Never go full racist, Chris.
No. It was a Tourette's thing.
Right.
Dog's got tits. But
Tourette's now as well.
But honestly, like the whole thing with independence thing, I think George Galloway, who said it was a pack of lies. We went into war, and I think it was a pack of lies.
Stop
obviously,
saying that.
With then,
All I'm hearing is-
that's my new slogan: a pack of lies.
Pack of lies.
Doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice, a pack of lies, like that. Get to the chopper. Pack of lies. And anyway,
What's this?
I didn't even know. Throwing some darts, a fucking darts trophy now.
Right.
But.
Okay, so
All
all
the
this
shit-
shit, all this
yeah.
shit happened. All this shit went down. We're here now. It's fucking. I don't even know what month it is. Was it April?
Sam was
Aye, we're in
obviously a
April
yes.
now.
Were you a yes voter, Sam? Yeah, you were there at the
I was a
rallies.
yes for.
You
I
had the
was.
tits out, you were there.
I'm so just kind of. I don't know. I just don't give a shit about politics. I think the way that you change things is through technology. But I definitely got caught up in all the independent stuff, and I was thinking, you know, if it's
you were gutted like me. We were all gutted.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
Sam. They're there.
But
Paul.
this is it.
Were you a yes voter?
Aye.
Good.
I was just felt kind of indifferent about the whole thing.
So I understand, like, some people, like some of your friends were saying no and stuff like that for different reasons, but the thing is, there was actually, you could put a freedom of information request in to actually see the true facts and figures when and how much oil reserves Scotland actually had, and that's the thing where the media, as you say, the propaganda lied about it, and that's where solely the three things where people voted no. Number one, they targeted, we'll lose our NHS, bullshit. 2, the oil, and 3, the biggest scaremongering thing, what about the army? As one of my students' dad said.
What about the asteroid, Chris?
Oh no, that was on a Scottish banter. It was like a comedy joke.
So it wasn't like a real thing?
No, it was a joke to say that's the extremeness of how like the BBC would go, just to try and convince people. In fact, I'm surprised they even said it'd be like Deep Impact, a comet would hit Earth if we voted Scottish independence. You know what I mean? They would have, next to be
That's
saying
not
that.
what Will Smith in, is it?
Next to be
Deep
saying
Impact.
the fucking.
That was Armageddon.
Next to be saying the fucking Pope's Roger for fucking American Dad or something like that. You know what I mean? So we couldn't get it. Anyway, I don't know. That was a weird
pull.
That was a weird pull.
The Pope is Roger from American Dad.
No, I don't know.
But so this.
But no, I mean, just to finish, sorry, Sam. I just think that.
So we're okay for the asteroid. We're safe.
Aye, we're safe. But it was a joke. It was on the you've heard the Scottish banter before.
It was propaganda.
Yeah. It
I
was
thought you were saying Scottish banner.
No, it wasn't the. See, I don't know. It wasn't the news company that done it. It was like some random guy that done it for a laugh, just to make a point to the No campaign that it's a lot of bullshit that they're spreading in the media about the Yes campaign. They never said anything nice about the Yes campaign. They were racist towards the Yes campaign against their own country. That's just.
Because that's why I remembered that there was something about an asteroid going to hit. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I've seen it as well.
Because they had the graphic, and they were saying it was the closest asteroid that's came to hitting Earth in however many years.
Aye.
I think, and then they probably used the Scottish independence thing as a laugh, and thing would be that. Aye.
Imagine that if that happened. If that
Could have
asteroid hit us.
Could have been. That could have been.
Wait
us.
all the years for independence and bang, boom,
Fucking
baby.
Asteroids.
But
That's what you call Sod's Law, Chris.
Yeah, it's Sodom law.
Oh, that's something else.
Aye.
Right. So.
So we survived the asteroid
So
strike.
again, my point is though, why are we? What are we gaining from?
Oh, we're going to get it again. We're going to win our chance for us, like
an asteroid.
No, that's.
But when's the next conceivable time that we could vote?
Got me worried about this.
Probably in the next 10 years.
See, it's done for me. If we got it back then, that'd have been great. 10 years, I'm already thinking.
Would you vote yes again if it came around again?
I'd probably vote again, but it's just kind of irrelevant by that point.
How?
Because I just think we'll be so advanced with technology that all the problems that independence was going to solve about us, like worrying about our fucking basic needs and fucking, a universal basic income, hopefully a small group could get together and in a smaller government we could make happen. That was all my concerns.
Still be a bit, mate.
Well, hold on, I'm saying that was all my concerns. And 10 years from now, maybe I'm being naive, but I don't know, the way I'm looking at it, it's like fucking, we're going to be in such a different place. You look at the past 10 years, like what's happened with technology and phones and fucking everything's changed.
In Japan, they have a toilet that can wipe your arse, Chris. And that's old over there.
But you say
it's old news.
things
Old
have
hat.
changed.
It's old hat.
You say things have changed. You're still going to Buchanan Street.
You want to do a fucking...
All the shops. Are
This
still
guy's
there.
talking
There's still
about
people
moving
in
the
clothes
technology
shops
into the...
working, blah blah blah.
This
that's what I'm
guy's
saying.
talking about moving the technology into the future, and you're talking about doing a podcast in a tent, Chris.
No.
You're behind the times, mate.
It's aye, obviously in the summer outside, but
What would you do in winter? Igloo.
am I right? The pingu. But
I
no,
think that
we could
actually
get
was
sued
the
for that.
pingu.
But
Aye,
no,
I
I mean, the thing is, like 10 years ago, there was still people wanting in Zara or Red Ryan's.
What?
Now, there's still
Well, hold
people
on,
in the high
because
street.
either
No,
shops
but-
10 years ago,
but-
we get
but-
that.
but-
But what did you have in terms of technology 10 years ago?
But you're talking about 3D
I'm asking you
printers.
personally. Exactly, 3D printers, but 10 years ago,
Who uses
what age were
3D
you?
printers?
What age were you 10 years ago?
I
What
was
the fuck
17.
You always bring up emerging technology, stuff that's right on the fucking cusp of existence, and you're like, who's driving about in electric cars? Who's using 3D printers? Technology's none. It's only just fucking autonomous driving
It's been
cars.
about for 40 years, mate. Electric cars.
The concept has-
And so, there were solar panelled cars in the 70s.
The concept has, and they've been suppressed, and now we're on the verge of it coming into existence. My mum has an electric car. It's here.
People in America had electric cars in the early 80s. You know what I mean? But the oil companies
But
bumped
they're
the
making
guy
a
off.
comeback, Chris.
This is what I'm saying.
So
but
this is not a new
it wa-
technology.
It was
It's been going
it was
about for
GM.
4 decades.
It was GM got. Obviously, they had shareholders that were in the oil companies that told them to stifle the EV1. It was
It's a
called.
contradiction. You know what I mean? It's not a new technology. It's been about for about 4 decades.
What I'm saying is, it's an emerging technology in the marketplace. It's now
It was
here
in the
for us.
marketplace 30 years ago.
Right.
until
But now it's becoming more
a guy
relevant,
got bumped
Chris.
off because of the oil tycoons.
Right, and they can stifle technology. That does happen.
Aye, of course.
But what I'm saying is, the chances of that happening now, because there are the fucking EV1 documentary who killed
And
the
we've got
electric
the
car.
internet. Everything's out there, Chris, on the fucking front page
It's
of the
so
world.
much harder to fucking suppress things now
Yeah,
because of the
'cause
internet, because of
everybody knows.
communication
Well,
and all that stuff.
even in McDonald's.
But
with-
one thing that doesn't lie, right? Because you can talk about market products and all that stuff. Exponential growth. You look at the trends of exponential growth. It doesn't lie. The exponential growth of mobile phones. It's like it outside of governments,
Yeah, like look
outside
at when
of
mobile
economies.
phones first came
this
out. They were
fucking
massive
happens.
things, and people were like, it'll never take off.
And
Now
they're
look at
massive-
them.
they're
Everybody's
massive
got a
again.
fucking.
They're
Aye, I
massive.
know,
So what
but
I'm
you
saying
know
was,
what I
like,
mean?
bigger.
But
That's
10
like an
years ago,
exponential
10
thing.
years ago, what age were you?
17.
17. When you were 17, did you have a mobile phone?
Or 60. I can't. Yeah, a Nokia 5210.
And could it take pictures?
No. You could actually get a 3 phone at the time when 3 came out, and you could actually see people and speak to them like Skype, but it was like some like £1.50 a minute or something like that, so it was like really expensive.
But now it's like so
Um,
accessible that
Snake.
anybody can do it.
And now it's free. Now it's like
Yeah.
you FaceTime, you Skype,
Like,
whatever.
you can
it's
take like a
free.
high def
Well, it's
video
not
on
free
your phone.
because you have to pay your
I'm
internet
busting for a piss, guys, sorry.
Yeah, man.
subscription. But I'm not on this show for you to ridicule me, but I mean I understand there's points I don't know. But
No, but wait, because
but-
I said it's well. Hold on, because
Aye.
I said it's free, meaning that service. Like, because you said that Nokia phone, you could somehow do a video, but it would cost you £1, whatever.
Aye,
Surely
it's like
that
£1.50 a
£1,
minute.
whatever, that was on top of your contract,
yeah, I'm talking
right?
about
So
contract.
now you've got your contract, but that FaceTime, you're not getting charged for that, so it's free. It's went from being
you still have to pay
£1.50,
your monthly.
but you had to
cost.
do that as well.
But you don't pay your monthly cost, then you don't get Skype, and then
Yeah, but you
therefore
had to
it's
do
not
that with the previous phones. What you're saying?
Hmm.
So so you've got a service, £1.50. That's like saying, but you also still had to pay £30 a week to eat, to live. Yeah, but now,
Good point.
but now we get free houses. Yeah, but you've still got to, it's not free because you've still got to pay £30 a week to eat food to live. Like, so what I'm saying
But you
is,
don't get that £30 to live and eat unless you got a house. You don't sign on if you're homeless and get money. You have to have a house. There's always cons and catches to everything.
No,
So,
but my
something ain't free. Air's free. Water for your tap isn't free because you have to pay council. You have to pay.
right, but what my
taxes
point
and
is,
bills.
you jumped from, like, say we were talking about houses or whatever, and that's, I got a free house, and then you've jumped to, well, it's not free because you still need to pay to eat.
I know what you mean.
I was
It's a
like, but
lot
when I was
cheaper.
paying
It's-
for a house, I still had to pay
it's
to
a
eat.
lot cheaper nowadays, which is good. I understand that. It's much
But you get what I'm saying though about
cheaper.
the service, the FaceTime's free.
Yeah, I understand that.
So if you've got your Nokia contract phone where you're getting your minutes
And
and,
it's an
your
added
broadband
service.
and all that stuff, and then you've got the added service of you're saying a video chat thing, of £1.50 a minute, And then I'm there.
Was that one, Chris? I missed that one.
and then I'm there with like my Apple. I'm on the same contract for my
Skype.
minutes and service, but the actual FaceTime's free.
Skype was
Skype.
about in the early 90s, 1990 or the late 80s. You know what I
Right.
mean? The concept, people have been doing it for years. In fact, email's been about
Yeah.
since the military in the
So,
60s.
so that's what I'm saying. You look
for
at
50 years.
So you don't just look at the concept and say, all right, this is when it was created. This is when it gained some sort of success.
But the electric car was in the marketplace like 30 years ago. Do you understand? Like 35
Well, it
years
was
ago.
a bit in the 90s from what I know. The EV1, the very first car, I think.
Mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, yeah, around about that time. And the guy or people were bumped off and bought it.
I think it was
as
about
well.
97, from what I remember. I think it was 1997. I could be wrong, but the point is anyway. That came out. It got stifled, and when that documentary came out, and everyone had a taste of these fucking electric cars. Yeah, it tried to get stifled by the people who had money from oil and all that stuff, but time just changed. Like, you just I'm fucking muddling my words here. Once the technology exists, it's only a matter of time. There's a law. So I can't remember if it's not Moore's law. It's there's a law that if something can happen, it will happen, kind of thing. And maybe I'm using that in the wrong context. But the point is, these electric cars, it's possible. It's in existence. There's a market.
Don't make me one.
And because it's more efficient, so there's all these benefits.
That's alright. Yeah.
What about you, Sammy?
I'm good now, man.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
There's all these benefits, right? Because it's not just it's cheaper because you're running it off of your solar panels and all that stuff. There's also like this. I mean, you look at fucking global warming and stuff like that. People feel like a sense of morality from having an electric car. There's that aspect of it as well. So even if they are rich, if they are,
what's your opinion on global warming? So,
do we really want to start another big fucking massive conversation?
Well, just one question: do you think global warming exists, or do you think it's a propaganda bullshit?
From what I know, it's not propaganda. From what I understand, and we had Willie Liddell on one time.
Thanks so much, mate.
He's big into it and was trying to explain it to me. There's a lot to it, I guess, and the thing is, you get supposed experts on both sides.
Yeah.
You know, but from my position just now, global warming's real, and everyone. If you're doubting it, then I guess you should look into it. I'm not doubting it, so I don't feel like I need to.
Topic and you look into. But I think no, you've definitely got a point with that. But I think, yeah, electric cars. There will be other technologies that will come in. It could be wind. It could be, like I don't know, Back to the Future or something like that.
Well, all this stuff's going on, but
like DeLorean.
I think you're totally rubbish. Like when you say hundreds of years. What if it's not?
Methane as well, like you know, I mean, the film Mad Max pig shit and stuff like that. That was like used. You know, I mean, you could actually use that to drive a car and power a car as well.
Well, they've driven cars with like vegetable oil
and vegetable oil as well. So that they're all possibilities. So electric cars aren't just the be all and end all. I mean, I think it's a fantastic concept, but there is other technologies out there that are just.
What are you backing?
Atom,
what technology are you backing?
If you had £1 million pounds that you could use for investment, you could only use it to invest.
And one like future technology.
Would you back the electric car industry, or would you back something to do with oil? What do you think would be more strong going into the future? You had £1 million to invest, and after
oil,
after 20 years, you get it.
Oil for the moment, because I feel that, being honest with you, well. Maybe electric if they would bring the price of the cars right down to like say £5,000 or £10,000.
Like when did solar panels that start coming like available for houses? 10
years ago or something.
Well, I was talking to your mum when, like, obviously we spoke to her as well, but like when she got them done, and they're like fucking like they're so much cheaper than they were.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
And the technology's got so much better as well because it's been developed and like they're more efficient and all that kind of stuff. They cost a lot less money, and
so
it's just going to be the same as the car.
From what I remember, it was roughly about £5,000. But a year or 2 years ago, I remember googling it, finding out about it. You were talking at least £30,000.
Yeah.
So in that space of time, it's came down so much, like, and that's
more than half, anyway.
Yeah, and this is the whole thing with the exponential growth of it, like.
And it's same with any like technology, like you're saying, like phones, like TVs, like remember like when they talk about like in the olden days, it was a huge deal for telly, like someday in the street or street.
Because I was going to ask you, like, what phone you had. You told me you had a Nokia. What? You were 17. You were staying with your mum. What television did you have in your bedroom? Like, how big was it?
I know it was quite an old widescreen TV.
It's like what size would you say it was?
Like the big.
Did it have the big massive back?
Yeah, as time goes on, technology gets thinner.
What TV do you have now?
A 3D TV.
A 3D TV.
You see, and how many years is that in 10 years?
10.
That's just got so much better.
You went another dimension.
Another dimension.
But see, this is the thing. It's quite funny. We talk about electric cars, but there's still oil in electric cars because the amount of barrels of oil it takes to make a tire. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. So, like, although the technology's improved that way, we're still in the stone age of tires. Tires have been going about since the 18. What was it? The first steam car was the 1892 and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then that's the thing is a technology I would like to invest in is an alternative to tires, because a dangerous fucking electric cars and fucking petrol cars, when they're both the same to me,
I bet how they make a tyre now though is a lot different from when they first started making tyres and like mass producing them. It would be a lot different now. They would have a lot different compounds and that kind of
it's,
stuff.
it's the same process, but on a bigger scale. I mean, obviously.
No, but like the ingredients to make up a tire would be a lot different.
To make it cheaper, I suppose. But I think
Well, just to make it more like eco-friendly and all that kind of stuff, because all these companies are trying to like reduce their carbon footprint and all that kind of deal.
it's still
Like even their factories that they build the cars in,
there's
are
no eco.
like designed to kind of reduce the carbon footprint.
There's no eco-friendly tire. It still takes quite a few barrels of oil to actually make tires.
What he's saying is like more
But-
eco-friendly, like, you know.
Yeah,
try
there
and-
would be less oil in them now and more of other things.
It's just. It's always been the same. It takes.
Well, what
That's
is-
just
what
like
if-
how you get like
especially
cheap.
an expensive tire takes even more barrels of oil to make, especially with the treads, or if it's snow tires, or if it's a bigger tire, if it's trucks or whatever. That's the thing. And I'd like to.
But
If
here's-
I had £1 million, I'd invest it in like a new technology for
tyres.
like something.
No, I'm
completely
not saying
different,
you don't
'cause
get to invest in a
so
new
you don't have a
technology.
burst
I'm saying
tyre.
it's either you're betting on oil or you're betting on electric.
I would
Which
say,
one's going to be more successful?
Well, personally,
And just on the tyres, I'll say as well, there's another projection
Oil
that the
cars go
amount of
faster.
cars on the road will actually be less as well, especially if people start using things like Uber, because there's no need for everyone. If everyone's got their own car, which
Aye.
you're talking about, everyone has to pay 20, 30 grand for this fucking electric car. What if they end up using this Uber service that's like a taxi thing? Because if you go off to work, your car's sitting in a car park for, 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
Doing nothing,
doing nothing.
not being used. Whereas, like with an Uber system, and this is another thing that's relatively new. Google Maps and all that. Like, did you have that 10 years ago? You know, now that we've got these Google Maps and Apple Maps systems all
Sat
integrated,
nav.
when we have so we have autonomous cars, they can navigate and go pick people up.
Yeah,
And this might sound, if anyone's watching this and hasn't seen my film, go watch Will Work for
Watch
Free. This fucking goes into all this shit. Like, it's not some sci-fi crazy thing in the future. There's
But
autonomous
you've covered this
cars.
before, these subjects already in some of your podcasts.
I don't know. I think we kind of go in and out
we
of them.
go in and out.
I mean, we've been doing this a year now, so we've probably spoken about it.
Okay, I mean, I've spoke to you before on many occasions, and
But what do you think about that then? The amount of actual cars on the road would be reduced. Because another thing as well, you've got people working from home.
Well, you're asking my opinion, and then you're just telling the whole story how it is. You know,
Oh,
what I mean?
I'm asking you.
Well, for a
I'm just
second,
piling on the ingredients.
Electric cars, in my opinion, I'd back oil, and the reason
Well, let's take it one by one.
the reason why I'd back oil is, well, number one, like sports cars.
I mean, my number one.
Aye, well.
Let me ask you a series of questions.
Me first with this, just to get it off my chest.
Okay.
You back oil cars because obviously sports cars go a lot faster. You know what I mean? It's easily more repaired. More mechanics know what they're talking about. Obviously, it might take a long time for every mechanic to turn around and say that.
I don't know if I would agree with that, Chris. Because like with electric cars, you can
majority
just
of
take out
mechanics
the
I
battery,
know
and it's
don't-
only like a battery and an engine. Like an
I'm not talking about the
electric
battery,
engine's a
I'm-
lot simpler than a petrol engine.
Ask a lot of mechanics about it. Do they know how to work an electric car or repair it?
Because
You know
that's
what I mean?
because they're
Majority
only
of them
new out.
I've probably not seen any.
Yeah.
It's
But
again.
they
It's,
go wrong less as well because there's a lot less moving parts in an electric car than there is in like a petrol car, like a diesel car.
There was if you go back to the 50s and 60s, there was less problems with cars. There's more problems with technology with cars nowadays, with a thing called you get a meter, it gets plugged into a car, a multimeter thing where it's like a mechanical habit, it's like a digital screen, and it'll just plug it in like a wee USB or like a wee kind of port underneath your
That's not
steering
what
wheel.
I don't think that's what a multimeter is, Chris. That's a code reader, and it
Aye,
tells you
aye,
what's
a
wrong
co-
with the
aye,
car.
sorry,
Aye.
a code reader, and you plug it underneath the steering wheel, and it'll tell you error code, whatever,
Yeah.
and then they'll go and get the part and fix it. But nowadays there's a lot more electrical problems with cars. But then if you go back 30, 40,
Because
50
there was
years
less
ago,
electrics in cars, though.
Exactly, and it was better. It was much better. There was less went wrong with cars. There
was less problems detected.
Yeah, there was less things that
No,
went
it's-
wrong,
it's
but
noth-
like there
it's-
was. But
it's
then
nothing to
in the
do with-
olden cars, there was less to go wrong. Like you didn't have air conditioning, you didn't have heating in a lot of them. Like they were a lot simpler.
Oh,
Do
you
you know what I
did-
mean?
you
You didn't
did
have
have-
CD players and that kind of stuff in older
Aye,
cars.
you had old like 8-track players and you had the radio and stuff like that, but you did have air cooling systems, stuff like that, and the old splitty vans in the 60s, like the Samba Bay windows or like the old Volkswagen vans, you had like air conditioning, you had heaters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You've always had that in cars. What I'm saying is I disagree and say that now more goes wrong with cars because of technology, and there's a lot of money.
No, it's not because it's because there's maybe more to go wrong.
Yeah, well, possibly, yeah. So more go wrong because there's more electrics and more involved. But then the more simpler, so you get the people who build hot rod cars, hardly anything goes wrong with them. You know,
Because
what
that's only an engine. That's only an engine in a car. Like, it's a mechanical thing. It's a lot.
It's more just than an engine. You know what I mean? You've got your tyres, you've got your axles, you've got your exhaust, you get your structure.
Aye, but you're obviously going to get wear and tear on that. But that's you're talking about like faults in the car. Like, there's a lot more now that can go wrong with cars because there's a lot more there. But they broke down in the olden days as well.
When we get
You still get faults with like gaskets and.
When we get into this religion topic.
Oh, for fuck's sake! You haven't got time for religion, Chris. I swear to God.
Aye,
That was Scottish independence. I don't even know what you're talking about with the cars.
Well, my thing.
You need to look it up.
My thing was, I was going to ask you
less
something.
things in olden days went wrong with the cars because there was less parts in cars. There was none of this multimeters or that or errors or whatever. Nowadays, there's so much different things. Sat nav, built in this, built in that, built in coffee, heater.
But isn't that kind of like saying, you know, like the Atari or the Commodore 64, you know, or like the NES? Actually, loads of shit did go wrong with them.
Yeah.
But it would almost be like saying, "Oh, the NES. You know, the NES was a great system." Not you got like PlayStation 4 and shit goes wrong now. It's like, yeah, because there's more software updates. There's more shit that goes into it.
Yeah.
You're getting a better experience.
But nobody gives a fuck about a computer game. If you're driving on the road, you know what I mean, stuck in the middle of nowhere, you want obviously someone that's reliable. I like classic cars and hot rods, but I think my car's like 10-year-old. And it's,
But what I'm saying is, are you maybe
fine.
just making the mistake of thinking that there's more problems because just technology?
I'm going with what mechanics say. I'm just going with what a lot of mechanics and people I know that say. Obviously, they just don't want to plug in a multimeter all the time to this. They just want to go. There's welding exhaust, put tyres on, fixed engine, whatever.
So what would you do, like if you were in charge? Would you make cars like they used to, or would you say let's?
I think they should go back to how they made cars
No, but then
classic.
like you could.
In fact,
something could happen, right? Say like my car's got a fault with it now, right? If it was in the olden days, right, they would have to bring it into a garage and you're like, what's going on with it? And you're like, I don't know, it's not running right. So you take it for a test drive. He would try and figure out. Then he would have to go through a series of things that could be wrong with it to diagnose it.
That's bullshit.
No, it's not.
No,
How is it bullshit?
That's complete.
But he would have
ludicrous.
to figure out what's wrong with it. The car's making a funny
Aye,
noise. He needs to figure out where the noise is coming from, what's causing the noise, why is that noise. I can fix that
you
noise,
put it-
and then is this problem going to crop back up again?
You put it in the ramps. You'll have a look at it. Look underneath the torch. Just what like they do nowadays. Just think, just because they've got a multimeter, they put it in. Sometimes it could. Many times in garages, it's quite common in quick fit because they're obviously in it for the money. They're not interested in repairing things. It'll come up a wrong fault. You know what I mean? Something like if it's a lambda sensor or if it's a radio fault, if it's a fuse or something
But
like
that
that.
gives you an idea. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the other day,
but-
like, and my pal just, like, he's a mechanic and he's got one of these codes,
But
he's
it
plugged it
doesn't
in
give you
and
an
it told
idea.
me
The
that there's a
electrics-
misfire in the car. So then we know where to look for it. So he went there and checked it and he found the fault within like 2 minutes. But if he didn't have that thing, he would have had to go out in the car, drive it, he would have had to do like various different things to
But
find
the-
out what was going wrong with it.
But the electrics.
And he could have misdiagnosed it as well.
Well,
And these are still petrol cars, aren't they?
Yeah.
So once you get the electric car where it's just a fucking battery, how much can go wrong that would really be
Yeah.
difficult to diagnose?
loads. The axles, the tyres just burst just the same as well. The shell rusts just like any other metal as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
but
cells
it
need
wouldn't be
welded.
hard to diagnose that
Yeah.
the axle's fucked or the tyres burst or the shell's fucked.
But why is it no hard to go in where classic can get diagnosed with experience?
I'm saying if there's like problems with the engine and like
Yeah,
fucking,
like other problems.
but whereas
you,
like
you don't
problems
even
with
go to a mechanic though with your friend when he gets this. Usually it's electrical engineer you would go to if there was like an electrical fault with a car. You know what I mean? Sometimes you go in a garage.
Aye, but
just with a mechanic.
if my car wasn't working and it was an electric fault, I wouldn't take it to an electrician. I'd take it to a garage and get
Aye,
a mechanic to fix it.
But it wouldn't be a mechanic that'd fix it. If it's an electrical problem, it'd be an electrical engineer.
Who's a mechanic though?
Aye, electrical engineer that's the mechanic. I mean, sorry, there's a difference between the two.
I just think when we get electric
Sorry,
cars,
we're in a big debate over what kind of car you got, Paul?
It's an Astra.
How old's it?
It's a 59 plate. So that's the end of
That's nice.
2009.
Did you save up? Much did that cost you?
It's on finance. I don't know what that means.
Slave.
Well,
MFT more fucking tight. So I bought my car outright. I think mine was like 1,400 quid. I saved up for a few months and got it because I couldn't be bored with being a slave and a bitch to car companies. You know, what I mean? That's why I'm saying, like, no disrespect yourself, nobody's got the money or 30 grand or whatever, and that's why they go and finance and tick. That's what these debt companies love nowadays. I'm in no debt. I don't know anybody's shit now, which is good. No disrespect yourself, mate. But the thing is, a lot of people get into these traps. Oh, I need a car, I need a new car, I need something new, blah, blah.
So would you not invest in solar panels?
Oh,
because you don't want to get into debt?
No, I mean, I would.
If you had a house right now...
You don't pay anything for solar panels anyway. Like, a lot of older people just get them. Like, they just get them, and then they'll take
I think
a percentage
there's
off
like pay-in tariff schemes where the government pretty much
get them.
Put it up front, and then they'll
You have to be broken poor and be a redneck in order to get that. You know what I mean?
So let's say, would you do that, or would you consider that being tick?
But at the moment, I've not really got a house, you know what I mean? So I don't need to really worry about that, you know what I mean?
can I put solar panels on a tent, Chrissy?
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know people in Telecutry know what a solar panel is.
I do, Chrissy.
No, but that's the thing. People that have.
Must have got a solid roof up there, eh?
Well,
Can
no,
I get a whole tone in my roof?
Well, Paris is in a big 3-bedroom house in Giffnick, so I'm not really bothered about that. But no, I mean, nah, only joking. But
personal, Chris.
Nah, but no, the thing for me is, like, people worry about these things in technology when they've got so much time in their hands. When people are at work and trying to make a living, this and that, I understand. Used to, same myself, enjoy technology, and it's fantastic. I want it to emerge, but I just feel that it's been suppressed because of, like, as I said earlier, tycoons like Shell, BP, and all that. And that's the thing that really irritates me.
So how are they going to suppress people buying solar panels, or the government even installing solar
no,
panels?
I'm talking about the cars.
Right, but what I'm saying is, once people have, but once people have solar panels, we're probably harping on about this subject now, but fuck
yeah,
it.
it's gonna.
But once people have the solar panels, because that's something that no one's suppressing at the moment anyway. Governments are even helping you get it. So once everyone's got that, your incentive to get an electric car is, I don't pay for petrol then. I don't pay to refuel it. Refuel it. So where's the suppression going to come in?
I just feel that these oil tycoon companies and governments, they're all in hand, and you'll never get rid of them until you lose the oil,
but
reserves.
they're going to realise at the point that this is where, like,
until it runs out.
Why is the government doing the pay and tariff schemes with the solar panels if they're hand in hand with the oil companies?
Aye, they're doing that to a certain degree, but it's still costing a lot of money to go and buy the technology, buy the car. You understand?
What was that thing we watched?
Because I know people will have spent 30 grand in sorry for drum, spend £30,000 on a car, and basically,
well, it's only 30,000. Well, it's 24,000.
But they won't have it for 5 years and get bored of it, and
But
then
you
they've
understand
made
that
£5,000 a year,
and then in 5 years that same car will
but
be
if you
18,000.
think
Aye, it'll
about
go
it,
down. That'll just get cheaper.
If you think about it, get your own car second hand for a couple of £1,000. You spend a couple of grand in a year. You have the car for 5 years. It's £12,000. You go and spend, even with the government, say it's 30 grand, you get 5 grand off, 25 grand for 5 years. That's £5,000 a year. So it's actually double the price to have an electric car.
I bet,
in
like,
the long run.
So
I
what
bet
if you
like
decide
10
just
years,
to use Uber?
Maybe 10 or 15 years from now, you could get a second-hand electric car for less than 10 grand.
If you go one for 2 grand, 3 grand, that'd be awesome. I'd count me in.
But that's where it'll go,
Fine.
because these cars will just become like second-hand cars.
And it's not going to
They
take
will.
100 years. This is my whole point, because like,
I never said that. I never said that. Obviously, there'll be a bit.
But the other thing I
oil
was
will still
actually
be a
going to
bit
say, Sam, was
petrol cars.
I don't know what it was, but I remember watching a thing with you, and it was about Elon Musk and his electric cars and all that kind of stuff. And you're saying that these guys, these big oil companies and the big car companies aren't going to go that way because they've got oil and this kind of stuff. But they were looking at Elon Musk and he was doing a great job. So GM tried to make an electric car.
yeah, because
Because they were like, this is the way that it's going to go.
GM
is one of
almost
the
went
biggest
bankrupt.
motoring companies.
In fact,
the
I
world.
think they got bailed out by the government. GM.
Yeah.
Um,
But they were thinking like, this is where it's going to
They
go. We
have
need to
to-
kind of
yeah.
jump on this bandwagon.
that's what I'm saying.
BMW's doing it. Like, they're
Nissan.
trying new stuff. Nissan.
So they're all doing it. So when we're saying it's new, you
Even
can
like
say,
even like some of the supercars like Ferrari and Porsche and McLaren, their top of the range supercars are hybrids. Do you know what I mean? So that's like a sign of the times as well.
So what I was getting at when I was saying like 10 years ago, think about like what life was like. Can you try and project 10 years into the future?
But you're saying your car, no, but your car's in finance. People have that in finance. If you get a car in finance at 30 grand, I mean, how much was your car if you don't mind?
I mind you asking.
Do you mind?
Aye.
Is it like 5 grand or something like that?
No.
Less.
Well, he minds you asking.
I mind you asking.
All right.
So we have to just
Don't ask.
not have that
Right,
point.
no ask. Well, even at that, it's a sore subject for people, and it's a lot of money. So
Well, it's just because I don't want everybody in the world knowing what I'm spending on my car.
aye, but it's personal, but it's not really that personal. I don't think anybody that's listening I don't think anybody gives a shit.
This
Being honest
fucking
with you.
guy.
No,
Right.
I mean,
I give a shit.
I mean it from a heartful, friendly point of view.
Right.
I'm just trying to make a point. If you're getting into debt and tick for a car when you could have obviously maybe got something maybe a couple of years older for maybe a grand or two where you're no in debt and therefore you're saving money.
But you maybe need to look at when I was in a position where I had to get myself a new car and I didn't happen to have a couple of grand saved up on my bank account.
So then
I'm allowed to go and tick in
and
that
that's where the
situation.
big debt companies rub their hand. You know what I mean?
But anyway, so 10 years from
Right.
now, 10 years from now, because this is maybe we've still got about half an hour almost.
Alright.
So like
Religion.
10 years from now.
When we can't even cover religion in fucking
Aye,
half an
all
hour.
we can.
But we're
Chris
on this.
Fleming way.
We're
I'll tell
still
you
in
what,
Scottish
we're
independence.
on this subject. We might as well stick with it because then if we have you back on, then we can have a blank slate and do
I
a
was
whole
looking forward to
religious.
the religion thing, right? But
Right, we'll get back into that another
But
bit.
just I want to. What do you picture 10 years from now? What do you picture your life being like? You know,
well,
do you just see it in your head as being the exact same as it is just now, or
nobody does though. I mean, from a technology point of view, I can't really say. I'm not a futurist. I can't really see if you know what I mean.
But
if
just-
laptops will still be about or tablets, it'll be something else.
Well, I'm not asking you to make predictions, but just in terms of like the scope of like when you look back 10 years and you see what life was like, can you imagine technology in 10 years from now having improved your life in the same way that it has?
Oh, I mean, probably it'll improve my life, yeah, to a certain degree, but it'll still not affect me going like. I feel like sometimes when you say technology is there and it'll be that good that nobody will be working, it'll be all machines, but then everybody will be living like Jabba the Hutt, sitting in their ass doing nothing. You always get people going out to the cinema. I mean, look at technology. You get any free movie
But
you
even
want
that
for the
now,
comfort
like-
of your own home. Still, people are going out and buying clothes, going out shopping, going to still the same places they were about
Yeah.
10 years ago as well.
Yeah, so they're
in
not
10
gonna be
years'
sitting in
time,
their
it's still
house
going to
being-
be the same. You know what
So-
I mean? There's
so
still
they're
going to
not-
be jobs about. I understand your documentary talks about kind of technology and this and that, but they're always going to be. I mean, I'm 50-50. I'm in the fence with. There's always going to be jobs about. Maybe less in some
There will-
sectors,
of course
but
there
there
will
will be,
less.
of course. But it just seems like sometimes you're like there'll be no, but just all machines.
Well,
Controlled.
the point is there's no there's not enough money in circulation to be paid back to the banks in order to, you know, you need this
Yeah.
fucking growth
yeah.
paradigm to work. But I went into a shop the other day, and this was just a small fucking news agents. This was a really small shop. It wasn't like a
Uh-huh.
supermarket or anything like that. It was a tiny fucking shop. And they had, at the fucking checkout thing, the not just do you even call it the checkout, just the bit where
Till.
you go to buy,
Right.
they had this little touchscreen, and it was all hooked up to a card reader. So you don't even have to bother the fucking person who's working there.
Yeah.
You just go
Where
up,
was this
scan
shop,
your
Sam?
thing in Alloa, across
Yeah.
from the bus station.
All right.
That
Or the Premier shop.
Yeah, yeah,
Aye.
Aye.
you go in and they've just got this little iPad thing set up. So you just scan whatever your fucking chocolate bar, whatever it is you're getting, you scan it on their fucking tablet, and then it comes up with the card reader. You just put your card in. You don't have to even fucking talk to the person. Now that's
Is that the kind of no chip cards, but you know the ones where you just got a card and you can just touch it and pay.
Oh,
or
like that
something
NFC.
well, that's a
that
separate thing.
contactless payment.
That's
aye,
the
that's
Because
not-
contact-
there's a lot of
payment, that's
people emptying people's bank accounts with that. Like there was certain thing people could go up to them with like this machine or something like that and just go up to it and then just empty them out clear.
if you steal someone's card, the thing is they've got limits on them.
Aye.
You can't spend over
It's like 20 quid or something
yeah,
like that. eh?
yeah, you can't spend over 20 quid on contactless payments. So you can't really, you know, you can get 20 quid off someone if you steal their bank card, but
Then what happens if you're going and buying a nice jacket, 100 quid or 200 quid or something?
it
like
won't
that?
let you use it.
Aye.
So So what's the point in that technology then? Why don't you just go and bend your pin and away you go?
Well, it's just to make it easier.
Because
for
if you're buying like
purchases.
something that's
it's
£5,
not easier if you've only got £20. You know what I mean? Like the maximum.
I
you
guarantee
talk
you-
about just for like a shop, like and buying a couple of local things. and
If
you talk-
whenever I go up to the co-op, I use that contactless payment. I never put my pin in. I just always just sit on top. It's seconds. I mean, you're only saving like a few seconds, I guess, but it's just that little bit
put
more
your card
convenient.
in, type it in.
And it's the beginning of a new thing that's happening now with Apple Pay.
Yeah.
So if you've got your phone, and this is a more protected system because your phone, which you've got the lock and all that stuff, so someone would have to know your passcode to get in.
And the fingerprint.
And you've got the finger touch thing. Now, when you actually use Apple Pay, which is the same kind of thing, it's like that contactless payment thing, but you've got your phone instead of a bank card. So if someone stole your bank card, yeah, they could use it for the £20. But if someone stole your phone, they have to know your PIN code and all that. And
Yeah.
then you've got the fingerprint scanner. So there's no incentive to steal their phone, blah, blah, blah. So you go up and you use the phone to pay for whatever is your pay. And I guess you could buy a jacket that costs £100, use this thing, and it's
Because
just
you're
your,
approving it
and
yourself.
it's just your
aye.
thumbprint.
It'd be good until somebody chops off your thumb and runs away with it and goes, I've got you. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I mean, it's
If
easy.
that happens,
It's easier probably for someone to cut somebody's thumb off than it is to get their PIN code. Probably, you know what I mean? That's probably people.
Well,
will
you
do
could
that.
just look over somebody's shoulder, Chris.
Nah, I'm being awkward, but no, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think
He
it's
knows.
So, but that's my point. The future of technology.
I just on the whole basis with cars, new cars, complete bullshit. Like the old days, there was less things wrong with cars.
Yeah, but they
You know
weren't
what I
as
mean?
good.
They were better. You know
No,
what I
they
mean?
weren't. They were less
Less
efficient.
things-
They burn more fuel.
Yeah, but less things went wrong with them.
Less
They just
energy
break
efficient,
down all
aye.
the time. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter about engine efficiency. That's obviously
It does.
Aye.
It does.
maybe now, but at the time, it's like I'd rather have something that's reliable in my lifetime rather opposed to being efficient and this and that. I mean, at the end of the day, I want a car that drives and it's not going to break down all the time like a lot of the new cars do. You know what I mean? Quite easily.
But
But
older
that's-
cars break down as well.
No, yeah, they do. Of course they do. I'm not denying that, but not as much as what the new cars do. Especially with let's put in the multimeter, and then you hear about fraud in some garages putting in bullshit so they can rip off people as well. Quick fix.
Exactly, electric cars do away with all that shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But garages could rip you off with older cars as well.
True.
Oh, that's an older car, son. I'm going to have
more
to get
people-
a different kind of range for this.
More people have newer cars nowadays, I suppose, and even worse, no disrespect, than tick as well. I mean, fair, if you don't have a choice, then yeah, it's the only option, but I know it's a sore subject because
It's not like it's a sore subject.
it is a sore subject. I didn't even want to say how much a car was.
I know I didn't.
You were like, you were like totally all pissed off.
Aye, Chris.
It's a sore subject.
Same subject. It's all good.
Condescending pattern.
I know, yeah. What a belling.
It's not like we're talking about your house or your wage, or your personal life. It's a car.
Or your tent.
A
How much was your tent?
A marquee, actually. It was
Fucking
300 quid for
marquee.
IKEA. It's not a tent, it was a marquee, sorry. A marquee. Marquette. Marquette.
I don't know. So are we done then with the technology stuff? I'm trying to.
Yes,
'cause if
yes.
we move on to another subject, we've got 20 minutes. There's no point.
Yeah.
You know.
Back to independence, I think.
All right. Well, okay. Let's go back to what I was asking you. What's the point in now still harping on about independence, because it's done. By the time
Well,
we
they've
get
done it in
another
Canada with
referendum
Quebec.
opportunity, by the time we get another referendum opportunity, it doesn't matter. All the benefits of going independent will be gone.
That's bullshit.
But why?
Because
What's the benefit of being independent
technology
when we've
has
got fucking
nothing to do with
a
independence.
universal basic income?
It's nothing to do. That's not going to happen. I mean,
Is it just a pride thing? Is it just like a Scottish
it's
pride?
nothing. It's nothing to do with Scottish
Hating
pride at all.
English.
It's not.
Hating the English.
I don't hate the English. I mean, just because
Wanting to be...
just because you
Are you
sound
British?
Scottish, well, British passport.
But he doesn't hate the English.
No, I mean, I don't hate the English, but
But
I just feel they hate us in a way. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Do they?
That's a weird blame shift there.
imagine
No,
we
no,
had
it's like Sam. Like, do you hate the English because you were at a Scottish rally, independence rally, and stuff like that?
No, not at all.
Ah, well, there we go.
but they hate me.
What about you? Do you hate the English then?
Not particularly.
There you go. So we're all the same. We're all in the same boat.
So we've proved that point.
But no, but what I think is bullshit is you can't turn and say technology is going to save the day. That's fuck all to do with a country whatsoever. I mean, just because countries work differently, and for obviously people in Westminster turn and say the Queen makes us a lot of revenue. Britain, she does a lot for England, does a lot for Scotland. They subsidise us. You know what I mean? Like we're in cavemen in the past. You know what I mean? Like we don't have technology.
I'll tell you where countries are the same. Almost every country in the world, apart from fucking Zimbabwe or some shit, like
Afghanistan or Africa.
No, even these guys. Most of the countries in the world
Brazil.
have what's called a fractional reserve banking system, right? And so they've all got their central banks, and then there's the private banks and whatever. And the way that it works is the banks loan the money to the country. Right, you've got the International Monetary Fund and stuff like that as well, but the central bank of America is the Federal Reserve Bank, and that's because apparently it holds veto power. That's like kind of the bank of the world. And
I don't understand how this is tying in with independence.
So what I'm saying is every country in the world is operating under the same rules. It's like a game Monopoly, but the way that the banking system works is the bank loans the country money. And the country can then play around with that money and use it to get people in debt and use it to invest in things and try and pull more money back. And you've got foreign trade, so we might steal a little bit of wealth or trade from China, and we can. It's just a big fucking game. It's almost like you could make it into a computer game, right? And so. But at the end of the day, the bank still is saying to us, when are we going to get that money back? And not just the money you borrowed. Because let's say I borrowed loads of money, used to invest it right, and then I got loads of money and wealth from China and India, and then I was able to, because I had enough wealth, I was able to go, okay, bank, here's all your money back, and now I can sustain myself on the wealth I've made from these countries. But those countries still owe that money that they've given to me back to the bank in some roundabout way. So it's all this fucked up game where all the money has to go back to the bank, and the bank wants not just the money back, not just what's called the principal, they want the interest. They want you to give them more than what they gave you. It's impossible. The point is they're all playing this one game, and that's all politics is. Politics is just a fucking way of managing the budget. Right, you can do other things like declare war and things like that, but it's all fucking economic related, right? So the point is, when we get to a point when technology supersedes our fucking need to go out and actually earn a living because I need to fucking make some money, I need to pull some money out from the economy to try and pay for the fucking lights to be on in the house. I've got solar panels. I've got a fucking a patch in my garden where I grow my own vegetables. People become off the grid. People become like self-sustaining.
You need to pay for that though.
Who's paying for solar panels? You need to pay for the initial installation and all that shit. But the point is though, society as a whole is going to get off the grid, and it's going to get to the point where all the money that's owed back to the banks can't be paid back because there's no one fucking working. Because why work when we've got everything we need?
If you buy a solar panel now outright, say 5-10 grand, can you just basically get the 100% of the electricity income yours? Because you know how you get, for example, like.
Well, it depends how you buy it. Yeah, if you buy the solar panels from some third party thing outside of the fucking the pay and tariff scheme that the government are doing, then you're getting all that energy.
Yeah, but
and feeding it into the grid. And what actually happens in some countries is the energy companies use the energy that you've generated, the surplus, and they pay you. People have received checks for, and it's not much.
12%, and they get like, or 20%, and the company gets 80%. But
no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the person who bought the solar panels gets 100% because they bought it.
Right.
But because they generate so much more than what they actually use, it gets fed into the grid and it goes to their energy supplier, even though they're on solar panels, so they don't actually need the energy supplier. If the sun's not out, if the sun's not generating enough what they need, then the energy supplier will give them what they need. But if they don't use more than they generate, they actually get a check from the energy supplier saying, here, this is what we owe you for the energy that you supplied us. So,
but I still don't understand technology, in my opinion anyway, is nothing to do with independence thing whatsoever.
But the independence
Nothing,
thing, the
I mean,
independence.
Sorry, I would say my point. In 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, 50 years' time, it doesn't make a difference when we get independence because we all get it the next time. Hear me, Westminster. If we put a vote in right now as Britain as a whole, there's like 64 million people in England. There's like 5 or 6 million people in Scotland. We'll never ever have a say. It doesn't matter if they bring out the best piece of technology in the world. That's fuck all to do with what a politician is. At the end of the day, Westminster.
Well, I'll tell you because but I didn't get around to telling you why it was. So, the job of a politician really is to balance budgets, right? That's really what it boils down to, and you get like the Conservatives who just want to try and pay back the debt and try and have us all financially secure, and at the expense of OAPs.
Because they want us for our resources and everything we've got. That's
well,
why.
they don't really give a shit about they're saying the bedroom tax and all the shit that they're putting on is because they don't really care how people feel. They're just doing their job of balancing budgets. Whereas you'll have other political parties that say no, we're okay. We can balance the budget by doing other things. We don't have to attack people. We can do all this stuff. And that's all it is a fucking argument between how best to balance the budget. But
Still don't understand.
I
understand what you mean, but I don't understand why it's
so
tied in independence.
So if in 10 years from now we get another referendum, but if in that 10 years we've got 70% of our current energy requirements coming from solar panels, and people needing to fucking pay for things like what are they even paying for? The car, I guess, or unless they use the Uber system, which will be cheap as fuck because it'll be running off of fucking free electricity, and it'll be autonomous. It'll be driverless cars. So you're thinking, what are people actually paying for?
10 years time, driverless cars everywhere.
Let me think. 2015. Yeah. 2025. There's a project actually called 2025 by Mercedes-Benz.
It's just like Margaret Thatcher said oil would run out in 25, 30 years and it never...
But you said yourself that was scare tactics, though.
Yeah, I mean...
So you didn't believe it? So you knew that she was
hold on, though,
bullshit?
because
that's
what I'm saying is autonomous cars, right? You're asking me, and all the research I've done.
Disney time when the independence thing, it's
is, but
irrelevant.
I'll get to it.
Sorry, I'm not being rude, I'm just...
So what I'm saying is there's not much for people to pay for, right? Because there's just going to be so little that they actually... It's Jeremy Rifkin refers to this as the zero marginal cost society, right?
Why is the cost of things went through the roof and there's less money in people's pockets? Is there more things to pay for?
You're looking at the cost of things. You're dealing with price inflation and all this stuff. But I'm talking about in terms of the actual what people need. So electricity, people need electricity. The cost of that has fucking plummeted. Because if people
went up.
The moment someone installs a solar panel, their cost of energy plummets. It goes to what Jeremy
every
Rifkin
year
calls,
it goes up 5%.
It goes to what Jeremy Rifkin calls near zero, and he talks about a near zero marginal cost society. So you have your marginal cost, so that's like the installation cost of your solar panel. You'd have to buy a house and own the house and all that stuff. But what if you get to the point where you own your stuff, you've got your house, you've got your fucking, and it could be a wee community that people end up setting up. People do this, and you have your fucking solar panels, and your cars are all free pretty much from all that shit.
They'll find another way to take it off us. The money.
Well, maybe you'd have to deal with that, but on the way that it's going just now is the problems that we want to go independent to solve, which are political decision problems that are leaving people fucking, with the bedroom tax and all this shit, which is really just about balancing budgets. We're going to get to a point in fucking Switzerland or Sweden, or they're already investigating this, universal basic income, which is where the government basically say how people get job seekers allowance. If you don't have a job, they understand that you need to fucking live. So the little that you actually need in 10 years' time to survive, say you don't have your vegetable patch, say you need food, they say the little that you need to live, we'll subsidise you. Instead of job seekers allowance where you have to be unemployed, we'll do what Sweden are doing. We'll give you a universal basic income. It's a universal right to life. Right? This will happen.
Put cars away and put electricity away. You have to then get rent, then your councils, then your council tax, this and that.
And if you're unemployed,
technology is not going to.
If you're unemployed, you get council tax, you get housing benefit, You get
To a certain extent, aye.
so you get all this stuff. If you're unemployed, you can have a house. I mean, just now, it's shit because what? Because you've got your fucking electricity meter key and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You've got all the stuff that you still have to pay for
Living on
that you're only
toast.
getting a little bit from the government. But in 10 years, that little bit from the government will be fucking huge because what your marginal cost, what you actually need to pay to survive is so fucking little that then the whole fucking need. No phones, Chris. We've got 8 minutes to go. Don't do this to us.
No, sorry. Just 2 wee seconds, buddy. Beans and toast and packy lies.
Who's watching? Right,
Yeah,
come on.
who's
No phones.
Well, I mean, but
we've honestly
but-
got like 5 minutes.
But dude, I mean, when it comes to it, right, I'm not being rude in that. You've been speaking.
What
a
would
lot
you
there.
vote for? So my whole point is that in 10 years just now, if you were getting a
Sorry,
universal
Alex, I
basic
feel like you're
income-
Alex Jones here. It's like
because I'm just focused on the time. I want to get an answer to this question. If in 10 years from now you've got a universal basic
I'm a
income,
guest here. I've not even had a chance to say any of my opinions, dude.
You've said loads of things, Chris.
Aye, I
I've kept
know.
quiet for most of this.
I
I
know,
just
but-
want one question.
I know.
Can I ask one question
I
and
know,
then
go-
you've
I
got
know,
the floor
go
for the rest of it?
Go for it.
Right. So if in 10 years from now there's a universal basic income, you can still be a guitar teacher. You can still go out and work, but you're entitled to this just because it's a right to life. And you've got your solar panels, you've got a Uber system for the cars, or you've got your own car that's electric that you don't need to pay for petrol. You've got so little that you need to pay for. What could a politician give you as a reason to vote for independence that would really matter?
Plenty.
So that's my question.
No. Plenty to vote for. So I'm just a wee bit kind of hanged by all that there. One, obviously, my Scottish pride would kick in.
That's what I asked you.
Aye,
I asked
and
you
you
for the
said
Scottish
no.
pride,
No,
and
no,
you said
no,
no.
But one thing, obviously,
Okay.
is the
So
Union
give me one
Jack.
thing that's
the,
not-
the Union Jack, like Britain, like
But-
have always like tied Scotland in with everything. You know what I mean? And council tax. Do you understand? Like for example, not just bedroom tax, but they would want our resources.
But I'm saying all that
and,
stuff would
and
be
our
gone.
natural stuff like wind farm stuff like that. They would want us to generate electricity and us to generate stuff for them because there's a bigger population in England what there is in Scotland.
That's the reasons that's relevant to the
But it is
the
relevant.
referendum
They're
that just
raping
happened
us
there.
our resources. They've taken a lot of shit for us. Just like Britain went in.
Hold on.
No,
Chris,
I
I'm
feel
getting
like
that-
you're jumping about like a maniac.
Aye,
here.
no, hold on. We need to slow down because
Britain went in and
I'm
destroyed.
contextualising the question though. I'm not just saying what's your reason for going independent. That's the reasons of now.
You mean to say if there was no oil left and obviously it was electric
10
cars,
years in
10
the
years,
future.
you've got your universal basic income, you've got everything you need for such a low cost.
Mhm.
There's not really much in the way of needing money for things, and you're not going to get fucked through council tax and all this stuff. What would be the reasons for voting if they're not money related?
to be a richer country? Of course, they're money related. You're always going to have people in government and people in power. Like for example, the Queen, she doesn't pay for anything. She doesn't
But
even
like
have a
relating to
passport.
you,
I'm asking you what your reason would be for voting independence outside of a money issue.
But there's going to be a money issue though.
No,
But I'm
there's
saying
outside of it.
hypothetically, if there's not.
I would vote yes, just on the grounds of all the wars and everything we've went on in the past, and I would vote yes as well because of
But if
the
Nicola
racism.
Sturgeon had said something, what could she say to inspire you? Because she's not going to go and talk about fucking wars and stuff like that. That's not going to come out of her mouth.
Obviously,
So-
she's
so-
not a racist though.
Because what I'm saying is from the point of view of the politicians as well, from the point of view of having another referendum. Because I'm saying, for me, it's done. It didn't happen. But the time it comes up again, it'll be irrelevant. That's my position. So what could Nicola Sturgeon... Here's your question. What could Nicola Sturgeon say to me to get me to go and vote
you're
for
Nicola
independence?
Sturgeon.
To get you to go and vote.
For independence
In the
in
future.
10 years.
Well,
When there's no
when
money
you're dealing
issues.
with lazy bastards that want their life, want everything paid for them, they want the solar panels, they don't want to work, they just want to inspire the world with nothing. There's
Holy
nothing.
fuck.
Whoa. What the fuck was that, man? That was loud. Oh.
Getting fucking FaceTime messages. Yeah, please don't FaceTime. It's loud as shit. Right, sorry. And we've got 4 minutes.
Oh, 4 minutes. No, when you're dealing with people who don't want anything, they want everything handed in a plate, then of course there's nothing that I can say it's going to inspire somebody. Yeah, because they've got everything they need, blah, blah, blah.
But that's what he's getting at.
But no, I mean, if you want, then again, you want to be ruled by the Queen, you know what I mean? You want to be ruled by Westminster and David Cameron, who will probably destroy us with NHS. They'll raise our taxes, they'll find to take money off us other ways, take child benefits away and stuff like that, make people homeless and stuff like that. Technology is not going to solve nothing apart from saving us a wee bit money on fuel, and that's it, and maybe electricity stuff. But you're not going to say to a single parent, you're not going to say to a poor person, here you go, there's solar panels, here's an electric car, it's going to save your life. It's going to still, of course, they're going to vote for independence because they want a better way of life. I don't feel that technology, in my opinion, is going to solve, and there's no evidence to say it's going to solve us and make us better people. It's only going to help the rich people, the people who cannot afford it, unless, like Paul earlier, you getting fucking tick for a car. Oh, there's an electric car at 10 grand, 5 grand, I don't want to talk about it, it's personal, in a nice way.
What a fucking...
You know what I mean? Getting tick. You know what I mean? People want to live in tick for it. There's always going to be something. You know what I mean? There's always going to be, if it's a bill, if it's a Virgin Media thing, if it's an internet bill or some piece of technology the government's going to take off us. You know what I mean? So eradicating an electrical bill because of solar panels, eradicating what do you call it, the car as well, you know what I mean? No, it pays much for that. You still have wear and tear costs on an electric car just as much as you would for a normal petrol car. There's no difference. But the fuel, I agree with you, is penny. The charging it is pennies, you know what I mean? It's like, what, 50 pence a charge or something, like 40 pence a charge, so you're saving like 10 quid or something like that.
I think my mum worked out, she was about 3 pence a mile, I think she said. I could be wrong. I'm not good with car stuff, to be honest.
But then again, your mum's got money to go and buy an electric car. You know, if she's broken poor, then she'll be like, oh fuck, I'll do the Paul method, the MFT, the more fucking tick. Let's bring it on. You know what I mean? And then you're paying a bank. Then you're working to pay a bank. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people in the Scottish independence now, if we got it in 10 years' time, that are still in debt, would still vote for the same reasons, because we want more power, we want more say. The reason, I think, if I was to say to you right now, so that our country can get more says on our own politics, on our own schools, and our own future, and no people doing Westminster and the Queen deciding, and no Tony Blair, David Cameron saying our schools get this amount of money sent for technology, England gets everything first, London gets everything first, and we get thrown the bone. I would go on the basis, say, yeah, an independent country so we can make our own choices. That's what I would go. Nothing to do with the wars or anything like that. That's fair enough. It might be in the background a wee bit, not much, but because in a wee bit, but. And on a serious note, I'm trying to be serious here.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I love the way you add on a wee bit. Like, you know.
I know, I understand, but basically another country telling us what to do because there's only so few as 6 million and there's 64 or 63 million English people. Do you understand? No disrespect to them, but the fact of the matter is, Britain's always the only country that's as a whole. That's invaded. That's why you got the Commonwealth. So many different countries. You know, the Commonwealth Games. You know what I mean? You had all the different countries, and I'm not proud. I hate people that fly a British flag. It's derogatory. It's disgusting. I spit in it and I burn it if I have to. Because at the end of the day, I work with kids that are poor and broke, and if I was in 10
How much
years,
you charge, Chris?
For poorer students and stuff, I've not got a lot of money, 5 or 10 quid.
Oh, so you give them like a better rate?
Yeah, other students 15 quid in middle of the road, people I know for free or whatever, and then rich kids 20, 25, 30 quid an hour. So
you discriminate when
stick
you
it
pull
to
up
the
to
man,
this.
aye.
of course you have to. Well, if I give you an example, if I charged no, just before we go,
Okay.
if I charged everybody £25, £30, how the fuck is the poor families going to afford to pay
So
that? Do you
as an
understand?
ad,
It's not discriminating, it's called helping everybody, Sam. There's a big difference between discriminating and helping everybody.
if you want guitar lessons off Chris Fleming here,
Yeah.
turn up wearing some fucking raggedy ass clothes and he will give you it for cheaper.
yeah. Yeah. But no,
That's
but,
the lesson.
But my point is, if I was to say nowadays, I would go on the basis our own country make our own decisions. We don't get our NHS destroyed, and we get less and less each year because in our country, Westminster as well, Disney decide and have a right to choose how much equipment or how much stuff our schools get and when teachers get laid off and this and that, and also with the whole budget, with hospitals getting built and that. The hospitals are built first, like in England, then Scotland's been given the bone. And it's even worse for Wales and Northern Ireland. They get even less, I say, because there's only, like, what's the population of Northern Ireland, like 1 million or something like that too? And in
1800.
Wales, in Wales, it's like even 1 million or something, million. So it's
But we're
worse.
going to have to wrap up, dude. But
anyway, peace out.
thanks for coming on, dude. Much appreciated. Obviously, you want to get any other subjects, we can do that. We can have you back on whenever you want, man.
And
As
George
long as-
Galloway can go and fuck himself. And if
Yes.
he's watching this, my phone number's 077-6689-5378, and feel free to phone us anytime.
There you go. Top hat. And also, thanks for everyone.
Thanks for everyone.
Yeah. Peace out.
My name is Sam, and that's not all. I got a pretty good show with my good friend Paul. So listen up to the chairman of the board.
Did that was going my page?
I talk to him and he talks to me. We talk a lot of shit, but you get it for free. So don't complain, these gadgets cost a lot. So now we're at the end of the song, and everybody knows what's going on. So here we have the chairman of the, yes we have the chairman of the board. Because we're bored.
I don't know what else I've told. Like,
He would ignore it.
you can't, because
It's
it was
it's
just
one of
just
those
people won't hear
nervous
you.
He's
habits. That's
fidgeting.
fine.
Can we give him something to fidget with?
But you baby. But
Just hold your glass, 2 hands.
but
No, he'll fucking spill it or something. Fidget, hold that.
thanks. What is this?
I don't know.
I thought it was a razor there or something. Yeah, just for man.
Gillette,
Gillette.
the best a man can get.
Okay, sorry. Go
You're
on.
like Gillette, eh,
sorry,
Chris?
sorry, dude. But I'm on fire tonight, baby. But no, like the song "It," which talks about sea creatures coming and ripping everybody apart, coming for the sea.
What, like the
and
Kraken in that?
killing it. Aye, like Call of Cthulhu, like the kind of metallic.
Aye.
So it's really grounded in reality. This album is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, half the album talks about the
But you can't
concepts.
talk about how the world's going to fuck and then switch to sea monsters.
Well, maybe that's how the world is going to
People
fuck.
are going to be like, I can't
Well,
tell if this is because you'll be
Sam-
talking
Sam
about.
makes a, Sam makes a sorry for interrupting. Sam makes a joke about that, but the Master of Puppets album talks about disposable hero, talks about fallen heroes going to war,
Right.
killing for oil and killing for
Sea monsters.
Sea monsters. That's
Like,
it.
and for
Killing
war
for
for
the
money and all
government,
that kind
war
of
for
stuff.
money.
Aye.
And then they've got another song. It's called "The Thing That Should Not Be,"
Mm-hmm.
which talks about a sea creature coming with a guy called H.P. Lovecraft, who had a kind of mythical being called the Cthulhu, and this was this mythical kind of sea creature thing.
Are you trying to rip off
Sea.
Metallica, Chris? Is that what you're
Well,
trying to
the
do?
Fall of Justice artwork, which is kind of like the Halls of Justice with the kind of crosses.
It's kind of like the Injustice for All cover with like the lady and that, eh?
It's kind of like that mixed way, like Master of Puppets Ride the Lightning, but its own style. And I've got the square gravestones, like the military gravestones, with like 5 of my students that died, leukemia, cancer, my gran, my dad, and the people I've lost in my life,
Mhm.
which means somebody, and my father's name and the sword with the lightning bolt, and the graveyard in the background. It's quite cool artwork. It was actually.
Aye, I've seen your picture of it on Facebook. Who did that for you?
You need to plug
Tim
in.
Burton's.
Tim Burton.
artworks.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
Like the
Tim
fucking
Burton,
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, but no, it was his artist that done it. A guy called Tom Roberts, who's on Facebook.
Tom Roberts.
And he does a lot of work for
Tim Burton.
different people, and a couple of Tim Burton movies as well. But it cost me about 250 quid, but it was
Holy
well
shit.
worth it. It was really, really nice. Spent a lot of money in it. I paid it in my own pocket, and it's good.
Have you had any notification about the audio, by the way?
No, my phone's on the
Yeah.
floor.
Hey, pal.
Sorry,
But,
just we need to make sure. You don't want to spend the whole 2 hours just not having volumes at the right level and shit.
But no, the album itself is. Sorry, you just had to
Okay.
wait 20 minutes. It gives you plenty of time to get a packet of Doritos or something. So.
So everything works out.
Well, he's got a point.
And then you went to the toilet. Did you flush the toilet before
was
you
ac-
finished peeing?
I was actually teaching guitar. I was actually teaching guitar, so that's why I was a wee bit late, and I had a few things. I had to get my dinner and that as well. So.
But
That's
we
why I was a wee
planned
bit
it for 11.
late. I know.
You
I,
had some dinner at
I was
fucking
coming
half
at
10
11.
at
I didn't
night.
realise it was recording at 11.
Alright, see, when you phoned it and like, I thought you were going to be like, I'm stuck in traffic, something. You're just like, oh, I'm just doing a bit of Spanish stuff. Fucking. Alright.
Spanish guitar.
But anyway,
so
Fucking
Anyway.
maniac.
it's been a long time, baby.
It's been
It's
like
been
a
a long
week.
time, Paul.
It's been a long week. We
It has
could
been a
put it
long
that
week.
way.
Oh God, the cops were after me last Tuesday. So
The
what
cops
hell?
were after you.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm just going to ask one sec, because
Nah.
you're not too loud on my headphones, but I'm going to ask the viewers
Yeah.
if they can message Paul. Actually, would probably be the best way. If
Yeah.
if anyone's mic needs turned up or anything
Many
like that.
people can hear this, view this right now. Can you see?
How everybody's watching.
How many's watching?
I'm guessing about 30.
80.
It's alright.
Could be 80.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It comes up weird in the views though, because if like a bunch of people happen to be grouped together like in a small room or something watching it.
So anyway,
That
Sam,
only
as you
counts for
said
one
last
view.
week,
Just
you
count as
gave
one
me a
view.
wee introduction last week, so you're going to do it again, Sam?
I'm
No, we
gonna
don't
do it
need to.
again
That's the beauty
because-
of it. We can just fucking jump into it. We've done it. Everybody knows who he is.
Well, I mean, it
Well,
was.
do you want me to
reintroduce them?
It's technically a separate podcast, so
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to
Okay.
reintroduce yourself.
Yeah.
Tell the viewers
You get take 2.
who the fuck you are.
Who the fuck? Jesus
two.
God.
Oh,
You and
just
fucking drinks.
Oh,
man.
actually-
He's got his own drink this week, and he
Another
just nearly
thing.
fucking punched it over.
vodka and orange.
Another thing.
It's just orange.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to confiscate the phones.
Yeah.
Mine's is on the floor over there.
Mine's just on silent, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's on silent. It was probably on silent last week as well.
I didn't worry about it. No, don't worry. It's all good. It's all good.
Right.
Phew.
Also,
Anyway.
this is taking up a lot of room. Can we have that kind of?
Yeah, like
there?
he's-
God's
he's
okay,
brought a
okay,
fucking
Mr.
laptop
Sam,
with him this week.
okay. It's for all my.
It's Mr. Vallely. To you.
I want to know why he's got the laptop.
Okay, teacher. Okay, sir.
As well, Chris.
No, the thing is,
Charge my phone.
all right, okay, because I was gonna say last time with the guy on with a laptop, it was just fucking chaos.
Aye, he was like hacking into.
Pentagon. Is
Aye.
that retard? That guy that's got Down syndrome or something like
Not
Yes.
not on our podcast.
Not I
Right.
know. You must have been on our podcast you watched,
Anyway.
Chris. The number 2 Scottish podcast.
that? Some people right now get offended maybe just saying the word retard.
Possibly,
I don't really.
people get
It's-
offended at all
It's Stone
things. And
Cold Steve Austin says, just bring it on, don't give a shit.
He was the Rock last
just
time.
bring it on.
Don't give a shit.
Right, anyway, so
I think
That's the
I think-
bottom line because Fleming said so.
I think the Rock said
hey,
just
don't
bring
use
it.
the word flavour again. I hate that nickname.
Do you?
Right. Aye, I do. Really hate
Well,
it.
get
What
my hate
nickname do you
banging
like?
on the fucking
Aye,
table.
I know.
That's 7 times now.
Sorry. Sorry.
He did it when he came in. I told him no. Woo!
So
He's coming to Edinburgh, Ric Flair.
For what?
There's
Just
something called an audience with Ric Flair.
just to
Is
hang
he?
about.
Aye.
You going along it?
I was fancy. I didn't know how much the tickets are. I fancy going along.
Did Bret
actually.
Hart not do some of them as well this year or last
I
year?
don't know, actually. I don't know. Maybe Sam's your Bret Hart man. He'll tell you. No, it's Shawn Michaels.
He's a wrestling guy. He's all in wrestling Sam.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
The wrestling report.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Wrestles on bears.
introduce yourself.
So yeah, so
Jesus,
I'm.
fuck this glass, Chris. I swear to God, I nearly
My
knocked
name's
over.
Dwayne Johnson. But no, basically my name's Chris Fleming. I'm 27. I'm gonna say I teach guitar and drums through Scotland. I've had a rough patch in my life. Kind of feel losing all my family apart from my mum. Lost my father 6-7 years ago. And music's a big part of my life. So that's the thing that's made me a person, a strong person. And finally regained my confidence back in my life with meeting the girl of my dreams, this Canadian girl, Dean, who I stay with now and again with,
Nadine.
and usually stay at my mum's a couple of nights a week and that, so everything's going well. So she's a good woman, and she's basically made me happy again in life, so made me back to the old Chris Fleming. The old Chris Fleming, that is.
So you're old school now.
Yeah, so I'm back to old school, and I'm feeling good in myself. I'm feeling back. I'm feeling black, and I'm feeling back. I'm feeling there, baby. But
I'm feeling
No.
back. I'm feeling black.
but no, I mean the teaching's going well. And,
What does that mean, Chris? What does it mean to feel black?
Don't know. It's just a saying. I watched
Just
it
a
in
mindset.
Seen it in like a Men in Black movie or something.
Black, what's black in it?
but no, basically, music's my life, and obviously I need to plug my band Unjustice as well, like kind of Metallica styled thrash metal band. Got our. Take 10 seconds.
Right,
Alright, it's a nice seat.
ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Welcome to the Chairmen of the Board podcast. Woo! Episode 43, I think. 44. Could be 45, I don't know. Go to Maveric Media shop.co.uk. But don't go just yet because we have a podcast to do. And you want to watch that. Right, fuck the advert. Let's just jump straight in.
2, 3, 4.
My name is Sam, and that's I got a pretty good show with my good friend Paul. So listen up to the chairman of the board.
Did that last week as well.
I talk to him and he talks to me. We talk a lot of shit, but you get it for free. So don't complain, these gadgets cost a lot. So now we're at the end of the song, and everybody knows what's going on. So here we have the chairman of the, yes we have, the chairman of the board.
Who done the sketches?
Because we're bored.
That was Hannah Ford on them sketches, Chris.
Right, hold on.
Did you like the theme tune, Chris?
Yeah,
I wrote that.
it was good.
Thanks.
Should have been on.
Should have been on what?
Should have been on something
Should have
anyway.
been on Chairman of the Board, the soundtrack.
Hopefully Mendes can hear this. Right. Anyway, so
Name dropping already.
Fuck it, this guy just brings beef every time. He had beef with George Galley. Now he's got beef with some guy called Mendes.
Right, so let me start off. Last week we had Chris on. It was a big anticipated fucking event, and
bum, 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 bum. Sorry.
I that's about 6 times I've told you not to bang on that.
Sorry.
I was gonna, right, I need to explain something here, right? I was gonna, as a joke, say, because you left last week, you left during the podcast, you've
During the
disrespected the podcast, I think you owe our viewers an apology. I was only joking, I wasn't even gonna say it because it's a shit joke, whatever.
Right.
But then you go and show up half an hour late to this one.
Oh yeah, he did show up half.
So now you are going to have to apologise.
Yeah. I apologise, Sam.
To the viewers, not to
And me.
Yeah,
Why don't I get an apology?
I apologise to the viewers, yes. Fall of Justice album out in the summer, so that should be quite nice.
Right,
So
cool.
if there's any Muslims listening, there's a lot of offensive things to Muslims in the Fall of Justice.
What is there that's offensive to Muslims, Chris?
Well, there's a whole...
Wait, is it
kinda
Muslims or Muslims? Because you corrected me.
Muslims.
Muslims.
Muslims. We'll call it Sam's way because he can't pronounce Muslims. So we'll call them Muslims. I just say Muslims because that's just the way I speak.
Wait,
Okay.
what do you
But,
say? Do you say Muslims or Muslims?
Muslims.
Right, okay.
No. Sam's the only person I know that says Muslims. Like you've got a muzzle on your face.
Muzzle.
Muzzle.
I think I say Muslim. I don't know what I say.
I don't even
I'm
know.
like I say, I'm nothing against anybody in the world, but obviously religions.
Well, obviously you do.
Well, Jews, but anyway, that's another story. But
How
no,
many fucking minutes has this been going? You've attacked. Who have you attacked, Chris? You've had to go retarded people. You've had to go
Mendes. No, I'm
Mendes,
nothing
who
against
the fuck
Mendes. I'm
Mendes
not
is.
seeing him. I'm not seeing him well. He's a good guy, but just thought I'd say it for a laugh because I noticed they liked someone on my Facebook page for lessons. And I just thought I'd just plug his name in there for you. Well, make it a wee bit.
Mendes got a plug.
He got a plug. But no, the band Injustice, like the Fall of Justice, we wrote a song about the atrocities that happened in France, about obviously kind of the people that were killed and stuff.
I
like
should
that,
take your
taken
hands away
hostage.
for you just a wee second.
And okay, teacher. Bye,
No,
teacher.
no, it's
Thank
just
you.
because the audio I came
Thank
with
you,
it's like.
teacher.
You can hear it. You still do. It's just
Aye,
went
aye,
right
just-
back and did it.
Yeah, it's just a habit, but.
Just I know what it's like when it comes through there.
But no, the album's going to be quite good. It just talks about kind of a number of things for like Mirror of Sanity, which losing my father and me going insane for a while, and basically we've got another song called Fall of Justice, which talks about
Mary
how
Sani?
the world
Mirror of
Mirror of Sanity. So it's
Mirror of
looking at
Sanity.
myself in the mirror.
Mirror of
basically.
Sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you said Sani,
Go and fucking move that glass. I'm so nervous about this glass.
I know.
when you said Sani, I was thinking sandwich, and I was like, Mirror Sani. What the fuck's a
Mirror
Mirror
of
Mirror
Sani?
of, Mirror of Fanny.
A sandwich of mirrors. Mirror of fire.
But we've got another song called Humanity, which talks about the world going to fuck. We've got another song called It, which is quite cool.
Says it like
Just
it is.
imagine him on like BBC getting. I've got a song that's all about the world going to fuck.
And then I've got another song called It, which talks about these sea creatures coming for the water.
Okay,
and,
you're really.
killing.
I don't know.
Fucking cheer.
Other than putting a sign up